Remember that Radio Biafra is in defense of freedom. That is our motto. Therefore, once again, I welcome each and every one of you to welcome your friends and well-wishers onto this hallowed platform. This is our rallying point where it all started by our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is still languishing in jail. Although we are not surprised anyway, because these are some of the sacrifices we need to bear in order to attain our goal. Remember, jail cannot stop us. Death cannot stop us because many of us have died and continue dying for this cause. Exile can also not stop us. Therefore, what do you think that can stop IPOB? Nothing. Nothing. We are here until Biafra is restored. Remember, for the meantime, IPOB is, under the care of the DOS headed by Mazi Chinedu. For your information, Mazi Chinedu is the head of the Directorate of States of the Indigenous People of Biafra, who is in charge in the interim. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is our supreme leader, who has been released by the Nigerian court since the 13th day of October 2022. But the Nigerian government refused to obey the court order. They refused to obey their own rule of law. Now, what do you think? Do you think Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will get a fake trial? It's impossible. That is why, since that time, IPOB pulled out that we don't have any trust on the Nigerian judiciary, the Nigerian government. So, since the Nigerian government cannot obey their own court order, what then? As a democracy, what do you think? So, but we must continue because we will never be deterred. We will never be discouraged or frustrated or stopped. No. This is the people's movement, a mass movement, worldwide monstrous movement for freedom. Therefore, we must continue. Today, I'm going to talk about the current issues, reading some news headlines, but remember that we are still under the series of living continuous colonial legacy, because this is what changed our history or our story negatively. The colonial people, the colonialists came to our land and changed everything, which we are suffering till date. They impose on us everything: culture, their education, what they want us to know, what they want to, the way they want us to be, and erased everything concerning us, cleaned us, and we started afresh. Do you see why we are still underdeveloped? That is why the first thing that we are doing here on Radio Biafra is to make us understand where our problem started, so that we start reasoning, we change the way we reason, because the most cause of our problem is the way we reason, which all these things, the colonial factor contributed a lot to change, to stagnate, or to change the way we reason, make it to be fundamentally flawed. Colonialism played a very big role in making us reason the way we do. That is why our work, the work of IPOB, is to make sure that, first of all, we start reasoning in another way, without emotion. We start facing the reality. Once we see truth, we understand. We start facing reality that is facing us, because we are living in a world of reality. Nigeria is a concussion that has been imposed on us. It's a very big burden, which Britain caged us in. And through Nigeria, they are changing even the way we behave, our characters, our reasoning capabilities, the way we do things. They are changing it using Nigeria. And I can tell you, look, just one of the news headlines. Nigeria government announces distribution of 20 trucks of rice to each of 36 states. And do you see how Nigeria, this is today's news, July 15th, 2024. Let me tell you what they are doing. Gradually, Nigeria is changing our nomenclature, the nomenclature of Biafrans, turning us into Almajiris without we not even knowing it. How do you think a government can run by distributing food? These are either GMO food or expired rice. Are you hearing me? That is number one. Number two is this: how can you be, this rice? How many people would it reach? You don't give people food. You teach people how to prepare food. That is the work of government. Unless during a major catastrophe like COVID or flooding, immediately to save life now. It's allowed. But in a case like this, you see, they are turning us into Almajiris. That is a policy. What I'm telling you, maybe many of our people might not understand it. The way they push us into believing that you can have shortcuts to make money. Government, let me tell you, the first step towards success of a people is organization. And that is the government. Government represents organization. Are you hearing me? Government it means organization of the people. Now they are the leadership that represents the people, that are leading, because you cannot lead without knowing the road. You see how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu through IPOB have started. They know that we lacked the media, and he smartly set up Radio Biafra. Do you see organization? Do you see a form of government leadership? Through here, now we rally around, we rally ourselves, we gather here. This is our voice, because this is what we lacked. I am just giving you an example. Now, how can Nigeria be distributing rice? Say it's just to solve the inflation problem, economic problem. How do you think? The other time, I think they did it. Maybe one street a street of maybe 2,000 people will be given half bag of rice to share. Some will get a spoon of uncooked rice. How do you think that this gradually they are making Nigerians to depend on crumbs, on handouts, the way the Almajiris behave? They are trying to Almajirize everybody without even you knowing it, little by little. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because the Fulani, look at here in Nigeria. Every time since how many years, the whole discussion is on cattle herdsmen. Now, no progress, advancement, no. Other people, other countries are talking about going to moon, building satellites. No, it's a cattle. Today, they have Tinubu government has designated our Ministry of Cattle, Livestock Ministry. Or do you see do you see how they are pushing us? The whole national discourse is about cattle rearing, about headsmen, cattle, 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 cattle. They held us hostage. And it has now become part and parcel of Nigerians. The same way now, handouts now. They'll tell you with this 20 trucks of rice for each state, they will siphon billions and billions of naira. That is number one. They are making people to be dependent, Nigerians to be dependent on handouts. Do you see the danger? They are not creating, they are not giving, loan without interest for, small scale business people, microfinancing without interest, I say. Because some countries, let me tell you, some countries, as a citizen, you have access to fund finance because you're a citizen. You have access to fund direct without interest. Because that is the basics of, because people, when you see what is happening, people are hustling, you are hustling for capital. Maybe you want to start up a business, you don't have a capital. You go to a bank to borrow money, they cut off your neck. They first of all say bring a collateral. And I ask, a startup, a person starting life, if you have collateral with that is more than the amount you want to borrow, you will use it. Even you can sell it and start up your business, or you lease it, land or anything, or you lease it in order to start up business, to raise the capital. But in Nigeria, it's like that. So you see that they are stifling development, human capability, because without cash, without funding, you and your capacity, you and your talent will just rot. You just rot. Do you see how let me give you an example of footballers. The same footballer that is receiving maybe 50,000 naira a month in the Nigeria Premier League, now he will be bought in Europe, and he will be paid millions of dollars. The same person, the same capability, the same capacity. Don't you ask yourself why? Why are we underdeveloped? These are the factors that we need to be critically thinking and analyzing. The Nigerian government, the Nigeria as it is, they don't care about people critically thinking. Number one, they don't care about people or raising human capacity. No, because they want to be on top, all of them. If you start thinking critically, if the people, the population start thinking critically, they'll be holding them accountable. That they don't want it. They don't like it. The Nigerian politicians, they don't like it. That is why, superstition abound. It flourishes in Nigeria through churches and mosques and different DBL. They call themselves traditionalists, which they are not. So they want, the politicians, they love it, they promote it, so that people will not hold them accountable. People will not be reasoning critically, so that you'll be thanking them for giving you handout money that is not from them, and they will promise you, don't worry, if you are good people, will be giving you more. Do you see how they are turning Biafrans into Almajiris? This thing, little by little, you think it's not having effect in our character. It is. Little by little, we'll be dependent on handouts. That is why during election time or campaign time, the politicians will be throwing packets of Indomie like wild animals to the population. Wild animals. Sometimes during election time, they will cut chickens into quarter, and fry the chickens and put it beside the election materials. If you want to vote for us, you come and vote for us. Now you take one chicken. That is what they bought. They buy Nigerians with all this, and you wonder why things are not moving well. You wonder why, you know, Nigeria is underdeveloped because the government wants it to be like that. Are you hearing me? That is why they are giving out handouts. For them, that is the way it should be. They suffer you through their policies, look at Kenya. They rose up because of the policy, borrowing money from IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank, that told them to stifle, impoverish the people, and you come, I give you money. Raise interest rate. Do you know what is raising of interest rate? You borrow money from bank in order to do something, in order to invest. How can you make it? And they will give you a rate that is too alarming. Your business will fold up. You will not even as a startup, a researcher, you cannot even have time in order to be making your researches. Because as a startup, once you start up something, it will not be moving very well that time. You have to make more researches. For some, it might be productive in the next 10 years. So how do you think all these things don't work in Nigeria? Because of all the government, they are stifling human capacity building. They are making sure that people do not rise up. You remain where you are. Are you hearing me? And you don't hold them responsible. Instead, you hold God responsible. You pray. Do you see where? Just let me ask, where is this right? Nigerian government announces of distribution of 20 trucks of rice to each of 36 states. 20 trucks of rice. In Imo State, 20 trucks of rice. Who and who will he reach? For one day. It will not even reach one person one day. What they are going to share. Now, instead of encouraging people through these good policies, educating people in the sound education of practicality, sound education of practicality, not just a so-called education of learning how to speak grammar, English, Zik or so on, so no. If Africa never start up their own way of education, if they continue this asambodo, only asambodo, without learning how to do things practical officially, normally government should be leading. Make it a government policy that every child must have a corner. Every child must have a profession in one thing or the other. Either you are a motor mechanic, outboard engine mechanic, either you are a computer programmer, either you are, a plumber, carpenter. All these things we look with disdain, we laugh at. These are the people, these are the professions that are building, that build a society. Plumber, carpenter, mason, you become experts, you become trained. Imagine that every nook and corner, government sponsors opening of mechanic school, practical. They don't care about even you use your language, Igbo language, to teach you how to repair. And they may practical in every local government. And when one government a school of a mechanic, plumber or plumbing, electric, electronics, all this ABCD. No. And they may practical and now imagine children teaching a child All these things. Before he gets to 20 years, he become a genius. But they don't want it so. The people in power, because they are the foot soldiers or the pounds of the West. They are agents of the West only, nothing more. Anything they are being told for them to remain in power, that is what they do. Impoverish your people. Do not allow your people to open their eyes, because if they open their eyes, they attack you. You know, opening people's eyes, it have consequences. For your information, educating people, awakening people, it has consequences even to the person that is doing it. Don't you see how we are watching Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, our leader that opened our eyes? Don't you see how we are watching him? Don't you see that? Or do you see the inconvenience they don't want? Because the politicians, they are being told, if you allow your people, the population to open their eyes, now they will pursue you, because they will be scrutinizing you. The same way we are scrutinizing the movement, the actions, the speeches of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in jail. Because he opened our eyes. Had it been he didn't open our eyes, had it been we are no problem. We didn't so bad. But we are awakened. So we are monitoring. Now, okay, your son negotiate. What do he say he's negotiating? Let us watch you. What is the terms and these are because we are alive. Nigerians are not alive. They are zombies, they are dead bodies. I used to call them dead bodies, and it is a fact. That is why anything the government did in a democracy, they accept. They are trying to Almagerize everybody. Biafrans, although we have Northerners that are Almageris, is their system. When one Alhaji will be a billionaire, he will siphon the whole money meant for the whole local government, and he will be Alhaji. Alhaji. Every morning, Almajiris will gather in his house, and he will give them one cup of fura de nuno. They will bow down for him. That is their system. That is what they want to turn every Nigerian to be. Distribution of rice, to 20 trucks of rice to each state of the 30 states. We Biafrans are known to be, people that uses our brain. We don't want you to give us fish. Do you understand me? Instead, to teach us how to fish. That is why this boy system that helped us to rebuild ourselves, to rebuild Igbo land after the war of aggression against us. No help from anybody. We started helping ourselves, started building human capacities, people to think, to use their brain in order to hustle for money. But today, Nigerian government is trying to reverse it, little by little. They are teaching our children, our younger generation, that you don't need to work hard, you don't need to grind your brain. You use kit, or you go to church and pray, or in the mosque you pray and ask Allah. You do one type of thing or the other, and money will come. These are the superstitions that destroys a country. These are the things that destroys a country, and it is working to the advantage of these evil politicians. These evil warders we call prison warders, we call politicians. They are prison warders for America. They are prison warders for the West. Because they believe that for example, if African population, Nigerian population in particular, if we are productive, they will, our land will no more be a dumping ground for rubbish. Do you hear me? Everything is pumped there. Imagine that we are, the government built the capacity, the human capacity people, harness the resources, human resources, People will be thinking critically, holding every penny that is being raised will be used judiciously by the government, because people will now be holding their political leaders or political elites responsible. But today is not so, and that is why we continue in the standard of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in this radio, that an awakened mind is not only dangerous to others, but even to the person that awoke him, because that time he becomes anya chanya. Are you hearing me? Anya chanya. He will be watching, asking questions, being curious. What are you doing? What is this for? That is how we should be. And for us to build a viable country, we must be awakened, because an awakened brain contributes to the building of awakened country. Are you hearing me? In an awakened country, the politicians are not relaxed. The politicians, they don't sleep with two eyes. They are always afraid. Oh, afraid of what? The people. In a republic, the politicians should not be relaxed. Look at the inflation that is going on in Nigeria. Look at the inflation that is going on in Nigeria. People are suffering. But let me there is this thing I want to play. I think I have it. You can see it as in Nigeria they use everything to make a joke. You understand? But there is sense in what he's saying. Listen to this boy, please. I just come across it. Even I posted it on my wall. Just listen to it.
Let us establish some facts.
Okay.
You see, let us establish some facts.
Okay.
Nigeria as a country is one of the greatest net exporters of crude oil in the world. And on the reverse side, we are also one of the greatest net importers of refined crude in the world.
Hell.
Which means we import the same thing we produce because we have refused to develop capacity to refine.
Why? Why do we, do you see? If we have the capacity, if we develop the capacity to refine, the politicians will no more be looting. Do you see why they don't like building human capacity in Nigeria? It is not to the advantage of the politicians. Because once you drill out the crude oil, you will be forced to, we have the capacity to refine it direct. There will be refinery, but it will pass through the refinery, it will be refined. And there will be no these procedures of this and that. Once refined, all the end products will come out and the same into Nigerian market. Direct. No transportation, much transportation or this and that will engulf billions of dollars. No. So it will bring down the price of things. And there will be no more money for the politicians to loot. Now the people will be enjoying. Do you see? Do you see why they don't want human capacity building? They want you to be morons, continue being zombies, going to churches and holding God responsible. God, you bless me today. God, they love it because you are removing responsibility that your annoyance that you should have been vested on them that are in control. Now you'll be vesting it on something imaginary. Do you see? And they have time to loot without you understanding that they are the cause of your problems. But will you change your brain in order to understand this? Because once you are awakened, you know. If for example, majority of Nigerian population know this, understand this, and say no to hell with this prayer of we are not holding God responsible. Yes, God is there, no problem. But we believe in him, but he's not responsible for our suffering. Neither is he going to be responsible for our progress. We must take the bull by the horn. The politicians are there. Our government is there responsible. So we face our government. Imagine the katakata it will cause. That is why they don't want you to think. They want you to always remain zombie. They flatter you. That is why during the elections times, they promote, Nigerian government, look at them, the politicians. They promote musicians. Have you thought about that? They promote musicians, people that are they hijack them, they promote them. And they don't sing anything about the Nigeria situation. No. Are you hearing me? Somebody like Abdul Karim, is it Aziz? Idris Abdul Karim, that is a critic of the government. They pursue him. They don't want his record. No. But they promote Eguku. Mandi flavor. They promote because that is what they want you, the way they want you to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? They persecute you once you are, you are diving to open the eyes of the people. They start persecuting you. They start to bring you down because that is, they want you to continue being zombies. In the country of blind, one-eyed man is the king. So they want everybody to be blind, so that they that have one eye, they become king. If they come and do tie one roundabout, you start clapping for them. No, that is the way they want you to be. So they don't want you to understand that you are in charge. The people in a democracy, republic, it is for you. Now they want anything they are doing as in government, politicians, they are doing. Now you start praising them, thinking that they are using their own money. It is the way you reason. That is the problem. Continue listening to this guy.
God have mercy upon us.
But that is not the news. The issue is that this thing is happening despite the fact that we have biggest net importers of refined crude in the world.
Help!
Which means we import the same thing we produce because we have refused to develop capacity to refine.
God have mercy upon us.
But that is not the news. The issue is that this thing is happening despite the fact that we have 3 government-owned refineries in Nigeria.
You don't know.
And as I'm talking to you now, these refineries, the one in Kaduna has 660 active staff.
Are you hearing? A refinery that is moribund, that is not working. It has 660 staffs in Kaduna, number one. Continue listening. And it's not bringing no output. Nigeria is a joke. Nigerians are jokers, honestly speaking. Something that other places, people will rise up and go and burn down the politicians. But who will do it? If Igbos start, they say Igbo man, they will infuse their virus, tribal virus. Oh, Igbo man, you people want Igbo man to dominate? Live on Igbo man. They will downgrade you with your tribe. If that one is not enough, they will put your religion. And the miserable people that are suffering will now be divided. Do you see? Do you see why we need to raise people that are critical thinkers? Reason. To subject everything to the altar of reason. That is why Europe you're enjoying today is prosperous. Because they motivated their people. They fought that the population should be, measuring everything at the altar of reason. No emotion involved. You don't say no, my belief. No, remove belief. No, what is happening? Is it real? Now they make the people to start thinking about the reality facing them. It's not about anything belief or your sentiment, no, but the reality. That is why Europe is developed. Because they first of all developed their human capacity. The capacity of their reason. They developed it. That is the only difference. Are you hearing me? Every time I used to say this, if I come to religion, people say, no, is it not the same Christianity in. I just digress 1 second. Is it not the same Christianity in Europe that is there in Africa? Oh, it's different. I say, you don't know what you're saying. It's the same thing. What change? The difference is the way people reason, the way people, download information. Are you hearing me? The way people, the way you see things and the way they see things is not the same. That is the only difference. Because I think the day before yesterday, I preached it, the power of man, we are in charge. We can take something and change it. The Europeans, they changed their own. We are still left with the dubiousness of it because it is the way, it reflects the way we reason. Do you hear what I'm saying? That is the only difference. Otherwise, the religion, everything is the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's just like the third road. It's the same thing, the same bitumen. But the thickness is not the same. The way they build it, their own, is different. It is very thick, more thicker, with layers and layers of even bitumen and even cement first with iron. But in your own, you put a mud that could be washed out by erosion. And now you put just a 1 inch bitumen, just like coating it. But when you look at it, is it not the same bitumen? So it's the same thing. Both religion, but the difference is the way you handle it. And what brought about that difference? The way you reason. Your reasoning capability, your reasoning ability, your human capacity developed in Africa is not developed. In Europe, the human capability is developed. The frontal lobes are developed in Europe. So the reason they have standard. Are you hearing me? Do you see the Labour Party members of parliament that are being sworn in United Kingdom? Most of them are less than 30 years. Most of 24, 22, 24, 28, 26, 27. To be in charge of a country that has nuclear weapon. Don't you see that? Don't you see it that there is a very great difference? Are you hearing me? These are people, these are the grandchildren, great grandchildren of Tinubu. But they are the people that we give order to Tinubu. Do you see the difference? It's the way you reason. That is why here on Radio Biafra, we are trying to do what? Trying to elevate and develop our frontal lobe in order to reason without sentiment. Because sentiment blocks our reasoning capability. Sentiment beclouds us seeing the reality. That is why we always attack the brain. The last time our first lady, Lord Uchechi, came here on Radio Biafra, he attacked the brain, the way we reason. The same thing our leader has been attacking right from day one. The way we reason is fundamentally flawed. That is why the politicians are riding on us. That is why they have their way. People that are looting you, now you see them, you praise them. You hate them so that they can give you a wajai. And you hate them. But you are suffering, you are in misery. Do you see? Instead of throwing them raw eggs, instead of stoning them, you praise them. That is the problem. That is the problem. Once we are able to develop, much people's brain capacity is developed or are developed. You see that there will be kata kata. For your information, developing a country or advancing a country is a process. And Problems are part of the process. I mean, confusions. It can be in forms of revolutions. It can be in forms of war. These are processes, procedures. Are you hearing me? But when you are running away, that is why when I look at Nigerians, I always say, no, for the interest of peace, let's leave it. I said no. Oh, every time people are talking for the interest of peace, and that peace, there is no peace because there will be no peace. There will be no peace. In a place where there are populations like that with different value system, there will be no peace until the needful is done. How many people are dying every day? And unnatural deaths, avoidable deaths, because they are Nigerians. That is why they are dead. Because the people's medulla oblongata frontal lobes are not developed. They are not awakened. Majority of the people are not awakened. In our cause, let me continue playing this, please.
The one in Port Harcourt has 507 active staff, and the one in Warri has 437 active staff. Put together, it is around 1,600 or thereabout. And this number takes home 69 billion naira every year as annual salary.
69 billion naira every year. Just dash to people that are not productive for any kind, anything. These are salaries, so they maintain their air-conditioned offices, their air conditions in their offices. They maintain their WCs. When you add this, it rises triple, quadruple. These are what Nigeria is just throwing away. No productivity. And the people that are enjoying this, they love it. When you talk about election, they tell you you don't know why they are mad for somebody of their choice to win, because to maintain this status quo. Vampires. And they are shouting 69 billion naira. It can pay workers. It can pay workers. But continue listening.
Without refining a single drop of crude oil.
They are receiving salary without refining. Just they go to work, they sit down in the maranjakre. They talk and protocols, and in the evening they go their way. Sometimes they will not come. They just because it's a protocol. The idea not for productivity. No. Do you remember the Fulani man that Nigerian government has been allocating? I don't know which kind of ministry is that. They asked him, what have you produced in the last 30 years? He said, Kilishi. Kilishi. That is what the Nigerian federal government is allocating billions of naira every year for them. Let me tell you something. Do you see the Fulani Caliphate? They are vampires. The tiger mosquito sucking the blood of Nigeria, so-called Nigeria. That is why, and they say this is a place their Allah has given to them. For your information, this is it. This is the reason. Because they are sucking the blood of everybody for free. For free. When you talk, I say, bring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to kill. And you see people that are suffering the effect of this vampirism. Fulani Caliphate vampirism. They are the ones that are turning against you. Bring IPOB to kill. They don't understand the intricacies of what we are doing. Just look at it. You have 3 refineries that are not working. No refined single drop of refined products in Nigeria. It's government owned. Whatever that is federal government owned in Nigeria is for the caliphate. Can you go there as an Igbo man in order to get job? You'll be maybe just a gardener, a sweeper, not even on salary, on contract. Anytime they want, they pursue you, or you are just an errand boy or errand girl. What you see there, Fulanis and Yorubas also enjoying at the expense of everybody. Do you see why we are educating people so that you start thinking in another different way for us to get a different result? Do you see that? Now continue listening.
And the 69 billion is basic salary. If you add allowances, housing, car allowance, there is even a report that their directors earn more than chief justices. Corruption. If you add all the allowances, it will come to around 137 billion for a sector that adds 0 naira to our GDP.
Are you hearing it? Do you see why they don't want you? Why they are against IPOB? Do you see why they don't want? They want you to continue, killing yourself every day in the church and mosque, calling on an invisible God to come and save you. Because in order to remove your brain from this type of issues, this is just a tip on the iceberg. 130 something billion naira every year to a sector that is adding nothing, 0 naira to the government. And you must maintain, that is what Britain wants. Because you have to be true, they have to be bleeding you. They want only themselves. You see why the West, oh God, they want you to be bleeding so that they themselves, they will be sucking from that your blood. That is it. That is it. In order to be growing, to be advancing. That is what they want. They don't want average Nigeria to know all these type of things. They want you, once you hear it, you say, waiting concern me, concern them. Now them, they chop government money. You don't know that why you are suffering is because of this type of thing. Why you go to market and buy 1 tuber of yam for 2,000 naira or more than is because of these people, because of this type of thing. How will you rise up to fight? No, why will no? With God, everything is possible. I'm covered. Even if they want, let they do 1 liter of diesel to be 3,000 naira. God will give me the money, give me the strength. If He give if you have the money, what about others? Do you see the way Nigerians think in a fundamentally flawed manner? Just God will bless me. Me. They don't care about the system. If Nigeria is a country, this type of thing will bring up, people will rise up. You understand? Do you see why the Fulani, in NNPC, they are in control with the Yoruba? They don't. When you talk about, do you see the reason why when they will tell you, say, that God have made us to be together as one country. So we must be one country. Do you see the reason? For them to be siphoning, to be, sucking the blood of everybody. That is it. That is it. Let me continue playing it. The boy is making it, sound as a joke, but it's a reality. This is a reality that is facing every one of us. People are busy collecting salaries for the work they are not doing. Free salaries every month. Are you hearing? Free salaries every month. That's why they tell you that we will be together. That God have made us to be together. So we must be together to collect free salary, to reap where they did not sow. Listen.
To explain it, my head will be headache.
Sometimes I want to beg the people that are driving this country, they should just stop. I want to come down.
Man.
You see why prayer for Nigeria in distress is not working?
There's nothing to
Because
show
the
for it.
problem is not spiritual. It is staring at us. We can see it. We just choose to ignore it.
Funny people.
I've always said that we are like adults that are surrounding a heap of shit, and everybody is trying to remove the fly, and nobody is thinking of removing the shit that is bringing the fly.
Learn a lesson.
Just like adults that God blessed with a tree of mango. We now cut it down, use it and build church, then enter inside the church, and we are now praying for God to give us mango fruit. Let's pray for Nigeria in distress.
Holy Ghost fire.
If you own a private company, will you be paying people huge amounts of money to bring zero value to the value chain?
Like I could have killed a lot of people.
Nigerian workers now are crying for new minimum wage that is in line with current economic realities. Is it that government cannot pay them what they deserve? But we budget so much money for irrelevancies that at the end of the day, there is very little left for the people that are actually putting in the work.
This world can be something.
I can give you a few examples. For instance, Office of the First Lady in Nigeria is not constitutionally recognized.
Photo.
Am I saying they should scrap it? No. We want our First Lady to be relevant.
Okay.
But since the Constitution doesn't recognize any role for her, let us leave her to play humanitarian roles.
You get it?
Reach out to the poor, the downtrodden, victims of unforeseen circumstances.
Be poor.
If anything happens, she should come on national TV and be crying
The blood we are sharing
as the mother of the nation.
Really?
But yet, we still created Office of Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs,
For what?
giving different budgets to the ministry and to the Office of the First Lady.
Is it not the same thing, the same way livestock ministry is being created now? it's the same. Now, other Nigerians, they cannot see anything bad about it because they are not interested. Their heads are blocked. They don't understand. You tell ordinary Nigerian, be telling him this story. He said, what matters to him now? He said, nah, I want to eat. You get money to give me. Give me 1,000 naira. Make I chop for all these things you are telling me. I know even know there for my head. You don't know that this thing we are discussing is the real matter. Why he is suffering. Do you see the difference? You know, here I've told you, I think last year, one of Macron's France president, one of his cabinet ministers resigned. Do you know why? Because he did his birthday party, or I think the birthday party of his child or his wife. He celebrated it and served the shrimp, crayfish. And somebody videoed the scene of the celebration. They see shrimp. You understand? And some bottles of wine. The thing caught fire. They release it to the public. Awaken the people. They say, this man, if I'm celebrating my own birthday, can I afford a shrimp? Why? This man is serving us. Everywhere, the man said, I beg, I'm sorry for this. I resign. It is my fault. Do you see the character of civilized people? If it's in Nigeria, for example, even if they want, don't you see, I think the video wedding that became, the governor of, is it Ondo or your state? Whether it's his uncle or anything, he was there. And when you see him dancing, you know that, yes, for him, God has done it. He's a governor. He's in charge. No scrutiny from the people in a republic. Because people are not alive. They are dead. Mentally dead. If it's in Nigeria, somebody brought a video of maybe a politician, a minister, killing cows in his birthday or his wife's birthday with high quality wine, not the one the French own usual. This one high quality, very costly wines. If you bring it out and posted it on social media and wrote that, look, this man is using our money, do you know miserable Nigerians will attack you? They say that you are jealous. You are jealous. You they jealous him. Sorry, man, continue. I tap from your blessing. That's why I want to be. In Jesus' name. Tell me, do you see the mentality? It's different. The Europeans, where you want to run to, when they see their politician maybe enjoying the type of thing that they feel that is not supposed to, is high, they will rise up and push you and say, look, this we are paying you. We are suffering, working, and now you are serving us. Look at what you are enjoying. How do you make that money? The person will resign and run. Sometimes they will even scrutinize the person. He can go to jail because they are accountable, they are responsible. But in Nigeria, if you bring it out, the miserable Nigeria, I say the poor Nigerians, the population, they are the ones that will attack you, start attacking you. Say you are jealous now. You are jealous of him. Instead of you to go and pray so that you be like him. You'll be stealing like him, be looting like him. You'll be, that is why I brought religion to downtrodden. You see religion. I regard it as is a complete tool of colonization. Complete. I've come to understand that. So it makes people now to hate you. If you are saying the truth, they hate you. If you want to remove the people from bondage, to open their eyes, they say, no, you are jealous. Instead of you to pray so that you be like him, you are jealous of him. Be like him now. Do you know how he suffered to be there? They forgot that politicians are servants, should be servants. No, they don't realize that. That is the fundamentally flawed way and manner that Nigerians reason. And there are many factors that cause this, the way they reason fundamentally wrong. You understand? Religion is part of it. Because there are factors that cause something. When you say, oh, I'm sick, I have malaria, they'll go to what is the cause of that malaria? Maybe mosquito. Maybe the weather. There must be a cause. Because it's not natural like that. No. So you go and treat the cause of that. The cause of what we are seeing in Nigeria is what we are trying to treat, so that we restore a Biafra that is not like Nigeria. The way we reason, the way people reason is fundamentally flawed. That is it. Now they will be praising Tinubu for distributing rice. One person will like, oh, I pray, let God help me. Let me get even only me. Get 10 bags of rice by myself. He will praise Tinubu. That is a fundamentally flawed manner of reasoning. He will not think about others. Say, what? Okay, let us sit down. This policy of distribution of rice, dashing crumbs to us, what is it contributing to our development? If he give us rice today, will he give us tomorrow? If he give us tomorrow, will he give us next tomorrow? Okay, we will depend on him giving us. Do you see what they are trying to create? Dependency of the population. So that now they will take you as their God. They will take the politicians as their demigod. Are you hearing me? They'll become more lazy. They'll be, they'll be wishing you to be there. Oh, he share rice to us. Let him be there forever. Do you see the fundamentally flawed way? They don't understand how politics work. What are policies? Policies to advance a country, that everybody should join together, that the politicians should not be taking everything by themselves, everything to themselves. The Nigerian lawmakers are the most number one highest paid lawmakers in the world. Do you know that? Do you know that? The highest paid lawmakers in the world, they are Nigerian lawmakers. So when you are revealing all these things, talking to people, the miserable people that are suffering the consequences are the ones that will be attacking you. Oh, are you jealous of them? Why can't you pray and to be in their position? Now you enjoy. Do you see what we are fighting? Do you see what we are fighting? It's not easy. So Nigeria is gradually trying to Almajerize us. And In another news headline, it says, food crisis will persist in Nigeria for another 3-4 months, says agricultural minister. So there is agricultural minister and there is livestock. They create another livestock development minister. Is livestock not under agriculture? Do you see how the Fulani they are getting it all? This is a way to fund Mietiala, to fund the Fulani headsmen directly. And I'm happy that what IPOB have written, the position of IPOB is also reiterated by Ohaneze Ndibo. We lead it, no problem. It's okay. It's a welcome development. In the news headline that said that Ohaneze rejects Tinubu's Ministry of Livestock, says it is the introduction of Ruga by cabals. And that is it. That is what we have been crying. Because they must find a way in order. Fulani, they don't give up. Look at the people that have been fighting. Since 1804, Ottoman Danfodio started this jihadism. And in 4 years, he conquered and created the Sokoto Caliphate. He renamed Gobi to Sokoto and created a caliphate. Till today, they are still fighting. Check how many years. No, calculate how many. Till today, they are still fighting the same war with the same ideology. Check you, Igbo man. If it is you, you say, no, let us live. I think quite a lot 3 years. We all forgot. And well, one Nigeria, everything is okay. We completely forgot. If I remember this, it used to pain me, honestly. Sometimes I argue with veterans, even my own father. I say, no, make a mistake, forget. Let us say that, we have 1 million reasons of justifying failure. And Igbo. That is the way we are. But we are trying to change this. That is why I'm saying in IPOB, if we fail, we fail. All our responsibility. It is not God. It is we that fail. If we succeed, we succeed. So we have no excuse. That time now, we are no money. Nanya carried the money and run away. That's why we fail. It is our collective failure. No, nothing can make us justify failure because we are fond of this. Because we are not born that time. I was discussing with a veteran, I think a few days ago, privately. Is what he's telling me. I say, God, yes, but you failed, so we should not justify failure. Because in here, I get them before. No, we now. Why can't we? Why didn't we continue in any way? I justify. No. Do you know what is hunger? People, even remind people to be eating people's flesh. But we failed. We are human beings. There must be a way. All of us must not die. Must not be killed, all of us. There is no place in this world, no war that have killed everybody. It's impossible. South Sudan fought. I used to give this example. That is resistance, consistency. For 39 good years, they saw hell from Janjaweed. They reached Janjaweed and they resisted. Today they are free. They are free. But we will give, you don't see, hey, hunger, they block every. Yes, I know. It's suffering, they suffered us. Yes. But we have to also resist. The same way we are clamoring today. If we fail, there is no excuse. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in jail. That's why we cannot. It's a failure. Failure is failure. It doesn't matter how you put it. You failed. That's it. So we have no option of failure. I am not in that. In that mode of argument that we start justifying. We tried our best, but no. You failed. This is your ED, nothing more. Let us call it like that. Let us say it like that. So we shouldn't be justifying all this. Why we fail now is this, is that. I'm not in that pattern of thinking of justification. No justification for failure. You failed. Accept responsibility. Now we failed. No, we didn't fail like that. But the condition that with oh boy on a fell. That's why we are here. Is it not so? And it's to remind us that we shouldn't fail. If we fail, other people coming in front will also blame us. And it will be worse. Do you see? So we should refine our way of thinking. It doesn't matter how you see it. We must refine it so that once we have our focal point, we continue on our good matter about let it be. Let it be. So I'm happy that Ohaneze, in tandem with IPOB's press release and the position about this Ministry of Livestock, because it is simply an introduction of Ruga. You know, Buhari, during Buhari tenure, he tried every way in order to bring Ruga. After he said no, it's a livestock development center. It will be, they said no, IPOB will say no, all are Ruga. Today, they are using Tinubu, a non-Fulani, in order to achieve what them, the Fulani Buhari, cannot achieve. And the Nigerians are moping as dead bodies. They don't know what it means. Where are those bandits, those Fulani terrorists that thousands that flooded in through Benin Republic? They have disappeared inside Nigeria, isn't it? Tomorrow you'll be shouting, come and help us. They are killing us. They are destroying our farm. They have burned the whole village. You don't know that it is all these things. They have now smartly made up, come up with an avenue of financing terror direct Fulani headsmen, direct through Ministry of Livestock. Because every year's budget, there must be carved out budget for the Ministry of Livestock. Now you ask yourself, why didn't they put what of Ministry of Fishery? Or what of Ministry of Fishery? If you have Ministry of Livestock. Now divide it, what of Ministry of Seedling Farming? Seedling Farming or Seed Farming? What of the ministry? Because you see, dominant species, they take everything. Do you see the Fulani? They are dominant species. When they tell you that Igbos are domineering, they are telling you what they are doing. But you being zombie, you are being manipulated. Your brain is being manipulated. Igbos are domineering. Look at how many years now everybody is shouting, oh, Fulani headsmen are killing. They are taking over our land. Many places in the north, they have removed the indigenous people. They have cleared different communities and renamed them to Fulani names. And they are there. Whereas the indigenous people, they are in refugee camps. But they are not domineering. It doesn't make much news, does it? It doesn't. If you thought they say no, Igbos, I don't allow Igbos. So you are watching Igbos. I say, do you see the hatred of the Igbos is what is destroying Nigeria right from the start? Don't you see the creation of state? The first state created in 1967, 27th May. Is it not because of to divide Biafra, to destroy Igbos, to destroy Biafrans? That is why Gowon started all of a sudden it turned from regionalism to state to destroy Biafra. The hatred. Is it not what is still going on today? The hatred of Igbos is destroying Nigeria piece by piece, making people suffer. The worst part of it is that they don't know. They don't think about it. They continue in their zombie, animalistic character. Now they have carved out the Ministry of Livestock, and Nigerians are quiet. Now they will be pumping money. Mietiala praised I saw a headline the other day. Mietiala praised Tinubu for creating livestock ministry. Say now it is a trillion naira business. Hey, Chineke. Do you see? What do you see? If you are together in a place, and you that say you don't want problem, you will be the slave. For your information, you will be the slave to others. Those people that say problem is their chewing stick, problem is their biscuit, problem is their morning, afternoon, night food. They have peace. They get everything. Do you see that? Do you see why I tell you I preached one time about this peace, peace, peace? Oh, we want peace. No, we don't want peace at all costs. No, we should remove ourselves from this. This peace, 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 peace is affecting us negatively. Hey, I would do no. When you are living in the midst of wolves, you behave like wolves. Otherwise, you become a sacrificial lamb for peace. You will be sacrificed in the altar of that peace. And it serves you nothing because you are dead already. That is what the Fulani are doing. Do you see how long they have been fighting? They have been every time, everywhere. They are kidnapping, they are killing, they are pursuing indigenous people, taking over their lands. They burn houses. They are. What is the solution now? Now they are the people they will come and tell you, say, to stop this, create a livestock ministry of livestock. That is the thing. Don't you see how they work? That is politics. That is why you see many Igbo politicians, they are there as zombie. Ozwe. Is it Benin we say Ozwe? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, what he's doing, our people, our politicians, they are naive, they are ignorant, they don't understand. Do you see how the Fulani they are doing? They have multiple facets. They are multifaceted, different tentacles, but they are working towards the same direction. H-men are causing havoc. Now their politicians will become and say, defending them, say, but these people, see the problem of these people. Look, listen to them now. Let us give them Ruga. We say no. Give them this. They say now. They say, okay, create a ministry of livestock. And they tell the people, don't stop or continue ravaging. They finance them to ravage. If Igbo politicians know this, they will not be against ESN. They should be at the back, at the secret financing and saying, do you hear me? Continue what you are doing. But I got on we are politicians now. That's how the world is. Now, but these people, no matter but they are in their land though, they don't go any other place. So what are really their problem? They say they are pushing for, but why is these people, why is these fellow strangers coming to destroy our farm? Let us look into that. They will be channeling politically. You have political wing doing something. When they come at the back, they say, nah, continue. Hey, God, we take money. We find money. Don't worry. Because we are moving towards the same direction. But these people, we don't understand. Because they are selfish. What matters to them is to carry convoy and become the owner of every land. As Hope Uzodinma is it a minister of land? He has the whole land. Everything is selfishness. With selfishness. They don't care about our collective movement and advancement. They don't care. They don't care. If they leave Igbo land for only you, only one you politicians, can you stay? You cannot. The answer is no. Why can't we move on, in a collective direction? So, yes, they're going. What IPOB, the stand of IPOB is like that. We reject this livestock ministry. Federal is a direct way of implementing Ruga. Because, as I said, in every state now, they must have the ministry. There must be land. Now there will be that. Just that is it. In every state, they will build the ministry because it's a federal thing. So that they say, it's order from above. Did you see? That is why we must resist this. We must resist this with the last drop of our blood. Food crisis will persist in Nigeria for 3 months, says Agricultural Minister. Now, Agricultural Minister is different. Minister for Livestock is different. Don't you think that Nigeria is a joke? Don't you see that? They say food crisis will persist in Nigeria for another 3 months. More than. The worst is never happen. That is why IPOB is advocating for agricultural revolution so that we have food in abundance. If you continue looking only money, everybody becomes millionaire in cash. What can you buy? The worst thing that can happen to a people is to be food dependent. That is the worst thing. For foreigners to be feeding you, you are nothing. If foreigners are feeding, if we are dependent on foreigners to feed us, we are nothing. We are their mercy. They can poison the food. They can stop and say we are no more giving you. What will you do? You die of hunger. That is the thing. That is why we are advocating. Anyhow, anywhere, even in the garden, even any type of horticulture, farm something. Farm something. So that we no longer depend on our enemies to feed us. If it didn't come from the north, we will not have it. Don't you see how many times the Northern Elder Forum, they have blocked, they say, no, we are not going to send tomato, we are not going to send onions, we are not going to send this to the south again, and they blocked it. Don't it give you signal? You know, how many times will something happen to our people before they can learn? They fought a brutal war. They killed us in the north. Immediately in 1970, everybody entered Ishino here in the north. And when you ask some people, they'll be giving you excuse. No, nothing in the east. Now that's why I say our people have 1 million excuses to justify failure. I am not part of that. I am not part of that opinion of justification of failure. I am telling you. After this very bad experience we have, after still our people went to not only going there to just hustle, do business, and maybe hire one flat, live in one flat or live in one room and be bringing their thing down. Everybody started building mansions again. And you ask, if anything happens to our people, I don't even, it doesn't touch me again. It don't touch me. Where they slaughter them. Normal common sense we tell you, say, oh boy, now we are passed through this. So yes, I'll go there, look for money. If I make money, I will do like them. Is Fulani, his house has not coming to East making money. Are they not selling their cow? They will bring the thousands of cows and say, do you know what that is money? That is smelly money, stinking money. Immediately they finish selling, they sell all those cows in the East. Like that, they will carry, they hire one room with their ute and even they are looking for free space to sleep. With money everywhere. Like that, they still carry the whole cash. They will round all the whole cash and carry go to north. Why can't we be wise? Every time we are crying, who tell you not to go and stay any other place? Who is telling you not to go out? But we are going there without our brain. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Many people in diaspora, you see, you stay in diaspora, we are in diaspora, but you know where you come from. You build, you do things at home, don't you? But you see our people living in the north, living in Lagos, they have mansions, build, everything is there. Every of their livelihood is there. If anything happens, they become rubbish to zero. And you are telling me that you are wise? That's why before I'm not saying Nnamdi my here, but this struggle me premanya. I saw that I want to hear him. I want to hear him. Otherwise, after 1970, our people shouldn't have been going out to invest as they are. Had it been, we will go out, make money. Every investment should have been in our land, in Biafra land. You are outside, you are in Katanguru hustling, no problem. But most of your investment would be in our land. But our people know Sabi now. The same mistake, you make it. The same mistake. You continue making. Looking for money only. No backup, no foundation, nothing in our land. A time will come, if care is not taken, people will become cannibals. You see, you will have millions in your hand. You will not see anything to buy with that millions. What are you going to do? You will carry 1 million naira and go and cook it. You cook 1 million and eat cash like that. Are you? Do you hear me? That is where it is going. That is this alarm that we are ringing here on Radio Biafra for you to be knowledgeable, for you to be wise, for you to be sensible. That is what we are preaching. Now, let me read another news headline. It said, Islamic cleric, okay, Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi calls for peaceful protests over hardship under Tinubu government. Says Buhari, other APC chieftains protested against ex-president Jonathan. Why? Ask him why he didn't protest during Buhari regime. He continued defending. He continued defending. This is a terrorist leader, a terrorist talking. Somebody that said that the Fulani terrorists, they are warriors openly, and he used to go to them. Video of him and them and the terrorists, which armed to the teeth, with different calibers of assault rifles and ammunition, and nothing happened. But every time they will be persecuting ESN, no ESN, ESN, whether ESN cable, but they will carry their own and keep it. Who is wise? They will push you to kill your own, but they will hide their own and protect it. Who is wise? You are the foolish one. They are wise. He is now calling for peaceful protests over hardship. But he defended Buhari because he's his mind. Do you see how do you see tribal bigots? These are tribal bigots. But when you talk, they say Igbo man, Igbo man, Igbo. These are tribal bigots, tribal and religious bigots. These are the people, the chief terrorists. Now he's calling for protests. But during Buhari, he defended, he doesn't care. Do you see why Nigeria will never move forward? And lastly, police community official accuses Imo State DPO of sexual assault, harassment of female officer. That is why they bring them to this was July 10th news headline. That's why they bring them. They always bring them down to Biafra land. They tell them, go to the unbelievers, deal with them as infidels, rape their women, kill their men, deal with them heartlessly. The divisional police officer of New Owerri Police Division at the Imo State Police Command, ASP Abiden A. Salawu, has been accused of constantly sexually assaulting, harassing, and intimidating police women at the division and female members of the public who report cases at the division. Do you see the country we are in? Do you see the country we are in? A police DPO, he is free assaulting our women in Imo State anyhow he can. Can you ever, an Igbo man, touch a northern lady? They don't care. You are police, they'll burn you alive. Do you see why I say that? They put us together and they see that we are weakling. We are weakling. We have been weakened by selfishness. Do you see selfishness? That's it. It's very sometimes the way we are now relegated to another very low level. It makes me, it makes me shed tears, honestly speaking. The police, you see how Nigeria is recreating us. Diamond before. I could remember my father used to tell me stories. Say before the war, you see, if any Hausa man, he maybe sits near, maybe in a bus or in a public transport or anywhere, touches Igbo woman, he said that cloth, he will not wash it again. He will be happy. How is the mighty fallen? Sometimes I start this thing is infinite. I don't get result. But some of the replies I used to get is this: we made the mistake. We are a talented people without political capability. I am telling you, we are highly talented people, but we have no political capacity. It makes us like a flower or flowers, very beautiful flowers growing without being trimmed. They become wild flowers. That is it. Our mistakes is too much. Igbo people, we are in charge of Nigeria, technocrats, military, police, public servants, everywhere, every facet. Mana, our lack of political cohesion among ourselves brought ayangadanga, confusion. Confusion. The people that planned the coup, Igbo man also stopped the coup. Igbo man stopped the coup. Igbo man became head of state, stopping the coup of his fellow Igbo man or Igbo men. And the plans of killing Igbos, including him, the head of state, was revealed to him, saying nothing. Na me, now, nothing mega. You know, we have primitive character. This thing I'm saying is out of my deep heart. I always say it, we have primitive character. When you look at the average character of an Igbo man, it's primitive. And the Fulani, they have understood. Go and listen to the Kunle and Alhaji, the second part. Go and listen to what he said. The Fulani analyzed Igbo man. He said, we know them. Now we understand them. He said, give Igbo man. He said, you near Igbo man, he will vomit something for you to survive. Because we don't have secret, number one. Igbo man, we don't have secret. Do you see some people like Lebanese in different countries? They will be progressing, doing their ignominious businesses, floating one genuine business or the other. You think that is, no touch, man. For ages, nobody will enter there. Nobody. You will not know nothing. Igbo man there. Hey. Nweta ha ego otisha ihe niile ọkọ even na foreign land ọgwa ndị obodo taa na ọhịa ka anyị na-eme otu ọnụ o were etu ọnụ get that we are primitive. Before you know, anya mepe a na-achọgharịzi ndị Igbo, because anyway no ha na-achọgharị Nigeria so ndị Igbo mostly a na-achọgharị because onye ọnụ bụ ọnụ basket mouth, onye nweta nwa $1 ọ na-epushi ya ka ihe he must open up. O nwere ike ya kpọrọ ashawo ka ọ kpọrọ o mepere ọma na onye awe agent o mepere sile ihe anyị na just like that, just for boasting. You know that I am the primitive. But in IPOB we are trying to correct this character. It's in Igbo na Dubai. You good on a video. You don't know that they will be asking, but who is this guy? What are you doing? You'll be thrilled. I'm gonna watch you see, what are these people doing? Are you hearing me? What are these people doing? Is it not the same work or business like others? They are doing importation and exportation. What is it? Now it will open the country's eyes on you, only focusing on you. Whereas other people are doing even more than that, but they are quiet. Do you think that Fulani, they don't do business? Fulani, they are dealing on different businesses in different Arab countries, for your information. Dirty businesses, I'm telling you. Do you hear their voice? Do you hear them? Because you know, only young with the tenkobo, the whole world gaman noji tenkobo now. That is primitive character. If we never minimize this type of character, it will be haunting us anywhere. For your information, it will be haunting us. It will be making things very difficult for us, more difficult for us. Am I need? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Na Malaysia. I'm not sure. Na Kuwait. I'm not sure. Na Iba. Also go away travelers. Also go out foreigners there. Don't you ask yourself why? Because our people cannot handle some certain things. Our people are still primitive, highly primitive. I am telling you, we must discard this. Look at this DPO raping our women. He's a police. He's been protected by Hope Uzodinma because you know, Hope Uzodinma is there for his own selfish. He also that he said that this thing God has given to me, I didn't even dream it. God gave it to me. Who will remove it from me? He's going 8 years now. Is he not? He will finish his 8 years. But what the damage he caused, it will linger for many more years and decades. He'll be protecting this one, raping our women. No problem. No problem. Do you see the problems we are having? You cannot do it in the north. You cannot do it in the north. They will burn you alive. But in our own, because they see us as weak. You know, things that can make a people weak. Selfishness is among selfishness. You know, or form of ojiagba. That is primitive accumulation syndrome. When you don't care about what matters to you is only you, and you. You want to make more. And highly proud. Basket mouth. All these things are the things that are worrying us. It makes us to deviate ourselves to be selfish, looking for my own thing, my own thing. You don't care about our collective interests. You don't care about that. You know, I used to say this. If had it been Hope Uzodinma is a human being, and they wanted to rig him in from fourth to first position, he would have politely rejected. He would have, if he cared for the people, for us as a people, he would politely reject. He say, "Yes, I know you can do it, but please, this one is too open now. Leave it. Don't worry. Another 4 years, we will try. At least we rig it in a more polite way that will not bring confusion." He will understand. He will at least enter the mindset, understand, get the feeling of the people. How will the people feel of taking me fourth person, fourth one? I'm not the second. I'm not the third. The fourth, with heavy margin behind. Now they put me number one. You say, this one too much, yo. My people, how will my people react? It's not only about me, please. I know, yes, I want to be a governor, but let us leave it till next election. That is how a human being behaves. Somebody that cares for the people. But because of primitive character, he said, no, unko cha bute. Yaga cha bute. Let me enter there. Any person that I kill him. What do you want? I will do it. Don't worry, I'll kill the people. Don't worry, who are there? Is he talking about his people? How do you think that they would respect us? How? Do you see how they have been defending the Fulani, the real terrorists? Those that are torturing everybody. Now they have gotten Ministry of financing their Nigeria official financing of their jihadist war through Ministry of Headsmen or Livestock. Don't you see that? But we are still begging. Our own people, they are beggars, begging. You know, Igbos, all the Kenya or Biafrans, they have mastered many of us begging. Because early in the morning, you beg God to go and come back alive. That is begging. You beg everything. You want to eat, even you beg for this food to enter into your stomach and digest very well. You beg something natural. You beg. So you have been accustomed to begging. In government, you beg. Igbo presidency 2023, you beg. Release Mazi Nnamdi, we start begging. Please now, I can do anything. Somebody said, which politician said that he is ready to prostrate, to worship anybody. He is ready to prostrate to the Yoruba. so that they will give Igbo they will leave and give Igbo presidency 2023. And what happened? You can't get something good from begging. Let us, these are the bitter truths that we say here on Radio Biafra. You can never get something good through begging. It's impossible. You fight for it. You see Donald Trump, when he was hit, he do hand like this, he say, fight. Americans, fight, fight, fight. Fight for yourself. Do not allow these evil people to take over America. Fight. Don't you see it? You must fight for everything. Not begging. And there is nothing. That's why when I heard about people talking about begging Tinubu to release Mazi Nnamdi, I was pissed off, so pissed off. Privately, I was so pissed off for saying that maybe IPOB say we can never allow it. You begging for him to come. He will just say, yeah, God. No, we can never begging. IPOB, we don't beg. Anytime you hear say IPOB start beg, man, hear me bien. We don't beg. Begging for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to come out, we cannot beg because he didn't do anything wrong. Any person that is going around saying he's begging, but he's just satisfying himself. We don't beg. We fight for what belongs to us, and that is how it should be. It doesn't matter how long. You can never get anything good from begging. That is my point. You can never get something good, something that is highly profitable from begging. Just it's very simple. Look at all these beggars on the street. They're called beggars. They get all misery. You give them the last 10 you don't even need. You just watch them. Beggars. What do they get? Misery. So that is it. So we cannot continue. You say beg. We are not Ohanes and Igbo. They have begged for Igbo presidency 2023. That is one of the reasons why they collaborated in renditioning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because they were deceived into believing that they just bring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we will give you Igbo presidency. Do we talk about this today? We continue asking them, where is Igbo presidency 2023? They have begged. They give them condition. They collaborated and brought Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, handed over. Where is Igbo presidency? Nothing. Every time Igbo politicians are being deceived. Or when will you learn? When? Are you not human beings being deceived? Those that are deceiving you are they not human beings like you? Why don't you understand politics? That in politics you don't beg. If you beg, you become more miserable. Look at Ojo Zokalo. Have you forgotten when he was crying last year in the Senate? Crying, I have done this. This country, you people are not good to me. You are not fair. I spend my money. Look, does it add anything? People are laughing inside them and say, look at this idiot. Why should we be beggars? We lack understanding of politics, on how politics work. You must go with the people. If you're a politician, you don't go with your people, you are nothing. That is the problem we are having. And that is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu understood and created this monstrous movement. IPOB as one family. And that is why Igwebike, once we say something, it will ricochet to the Nigerian government. That is it. Because it is not one person talking. It is a movement. Politics is like that. Not going to beg for your own thing. We are the Anasha Hego millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars, Igbo politicians, and they kept quiet. Where are they today? Is there anyone? Where is Nnamdi today? Nnamdi went and started singing openly. The problem is that they don't hide it. They do it openly, as if these are people that don't even have common sense. Singing praises of Wike for killing his people. Just because of Igbo presidency 2020. Where is he today? That is a question. Where have he hidden? Where has he hidden? Where is him today? It's not a minister, it's not a president, it's nothing. They promise all of them. Every time, and they treat very little children. They are deceived. They are deceived into this. They are deceived into that. We must understand how to play politics. Honestly, the way our people play politics is completely wrong. It's completely wrong. They are playing politics, stomach politics. I said the Fulani man, Alhaji told Tunde, Kunle, said this is the Igbo people. No mind them, they are all businessmen. You don't know that you are the tractors. They know you. You don't know the respect. No matter how you think they hate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but they have respect, utmost respect on him because of his stand. Because he's there as him. It doesn't matter. Your enemy will only respect you once you are consistent. It doesn't matter. But once you start quivering, begging, they take you as you are nothing. Look at go another day I will play the Kunla and Alhaji this thing, second part. Bug the clip. The man, he analyzed Igbo. He said we have understood them. Before they were mysteries to us, we took them as larger than the old people, but now we know them. We know them very well. We know them. Just make Igbo. He said Buhari, the difficulty Buhari is having. He said, had it been in empower just some Igbo businessmen, call them. Give them numbers, saying, you see, woman can boast. Hey, now I have a presidency, this thing. He can kill his wife because of that. If he talk anything against Buhari that time. Because he gave him his number. He gave him his card. He said, call me direct. He said, do you know that I have the head of state, I mean the president's number. Direct. I can call him now. He can just dial to say, hello. Yeah, it's me. On Okay. He can destroy his village because of that. They know. Don't you see how they empower Emeka through EEDC? He's dealing with his own people. And they give him that fake sense of empowerment to make him to look like somebody only now in Igbo land. So yeah, when you come, don't worry, they give him escorts. And he with the people, because we are a people that can be, deceived with very little thing, little illusion. Your brain become distorted. Or not, because another thing. Just little illusion. That is primitivity. Now, wow, I thought from him, I want to be like this man. Now, wow, you that is talking, can you be like him? It become a nonsense argument. You don't know that these are things that the Fulani are what they created, illusions they created in order to destabilize you. You don't know, and himself, he knows feel bigger than, but he knows his limits. That he's not just like Azikiwe. He knows that he didn't have no real power. But when he come to our land, he lie to our people. Hey, you're so because so no also pona. Hey, now so pozika so no so. This is the type of primitive mentality and mindset we have, and this is what we are trying to remove from this Radio Biafra. Therefore, we must continue. This is where I'm going to stop. I will go into a few minutes break, and thereafter I will open the lines for just a few calls. Please do not go away. I'll be right back.
Oh yes, my people, una well done. Obodo Naija don carry census bust out o. Oya, bring your ear close, make we yarn. Anywhere you dey, if na Biafran you be, whenever they wan count census for Nigeria, kukuma come back to Biafra land o. Make them count you in your own land, because during election they killed us in the north and Yoruba land, and na them still talk say we no get right to vote in their land. So time don come, make we boost our population. And if you no fit return, selenge for your house, make you no participate, because them go add una number for the region where una dey. Another one be say, if you dey north and your tribe no be Fulani, when you wan fill the form, identify your tribe. No go write Fulani, e dey very important. In this census, if Biafrans go come back like tomorrow no day, them go know say we plenty for this obodo Naija where we dey so. We go use this census exercise to ascertain our population and the size of amenities wey we need in Biafran territory. Remember every obstacle wey we get for this freedom, IPOB don dey dismantle am small small, and this population census go be another evidence to that effect. All hail Biafra, Biafra will hail you.
Stand your ground and no fear. No dey from me, no say Biafra land is ours. Welcome back. This is Radio Biafra House of Service coming to you through Radio Biafra London. My name remains Mazi, Jonathan Chinedu from Alo province of Biafra land. We are here live and direct, and today is the 15th day of July 2024. Therefore, our lines are now opened. Our direct line, as usual, is +1 213 328 6224. I repeat, +1 213 328 6224. Our WhatsApp and Signal line is +61 405 142 547. I repeat, +61 405 142 547. You can call us and give us your view on the issue, on the headlines and the issue discussed. What we are doing is to make sure that we sanitize our brains. We continue this preaching. We continue until Biafra is restored. Remember, this is the most, or one of the most important part of this restoration. I am telling you, sanitizing our brain, because the problem we are having is the way we reason. It is fundamentally flawed. That is why, when you see blue color with a fundamentally flawed brain, you can call it gray, but the reality, it is blue. You see white now, you call it brown, because of the way your brain is. That is the problem. So this is what we are trying to correct. I know it's not easy, but we are not going to keep quiet. We continue. Caller on what's up? Welcome to the program. Can you hear me? Caller on WhatsApp. Let me see. Yeah, I'm sorry. Right. Caller on WhatsApp. Can you hear me? Yes. Go on, Mazi. Yeah, Mazi, caller on WhatsApp. You are the first caller. Please go on. Can you hear me, please? Yeah, go on. Go on.
Yeah, thank you. Just this your program tonight is very apt. Actually, I couldn't disagree. I couldn't agree with you anymore. So, actually, there are two things I want to point out here. Even if we don't do anything today, you know that Nigeria will
Not that you should shout, Mazi.
Because one is that the way they.
Mazi, can you raise your voice a bit more louder, please?
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I coming out loud?
Yes, it's better. Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Go on. Yes, go on. Yes, go on. Yes.
Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say is that even if we don't do nothing, Nigeria will definitely disintegrate. For one, the way they are using the oil resources to borrow money in advance in future, as you expense are now today. Dangote could not buy oil from Nigeria because they have sold the oil to in the next 5 or 10 years to borrow money. That is one side. Well, but the one that actually attracts me is that even Brutai, the murderer, was just yapping as usual that whoever wants to take his land to the sea. And I asked him, so who will take Biafra to the sea? It's not a problem. Let us have it, So, but but the more important thing is what to do actually to do this thing. One of the things, questions I had actually wanted to ask. The people in the middle belt, those that this Radio Biafra, according to you, have illuminated their mind, are now sitting in the various IDP camps. So I'm just wondering, is there anything we will lose if these people, some of the rightful ones, are identified, groomed, and then, guided like Misa to go back to start fighting them there, that will shape the ground of field, to the battlefield. And then secondly, it will help to build internal allies and pressure that will make this new government to realize that it's time to go to the negotiating table. I've been wondering that. But
Mazi,
like
Mazi,
I don't know what to say
sorry,
more. I
Mazi,
just want to
Mazi,
thank you for
Mazi, can you hear me?
this opportunity.
Mazi, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, I was pressing the wrong button. Mazi, can you hear me? Do you mean, can you hear me, Mazi? Yes, I say. What do you mean those that were displaced from their ancestral land to IDP camps?
Do balloting, whose minds were illuminated, according to you, you always use this, so, and now they've been displaced by the Fulanis, various IDP camps, so, and I'm saying, is there anything IDP will do if it's part of building internal alliance, to fight this battle, that some the relevant ones are recruited, groomed, and guided as Mesa to go back to this, to fight back their land. That will shift the battleground from this planets, from continuing to be actually a hitch, from them coming from direct from the Zamfara to the east. And then also, put internal pressure on them so that they can come to the negotiating table.
Yeah, Mazi, what I would say there. Yes. I had it. But what I would say is, Mazi, we need to liberate ourselves first. We are fighting for ourselves. What we are talking, our preaching and our enlightenment is free for all and sundry, both the northerners that are being persecuted. But the issue is this: what I see is that most of them that are even suffering, their minds are still caged when it comes to Onyamini. I am telling you honestly. I know it's not all, but most of them, So, yeah, we must liberate ourselves first. We cannot go to fight other people's war. You understand? Uh-huh.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, but it also bring internal pressure on them. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying we should go there. No. What I'm saying is that if we don't have any, I don't know if we have the capacity to groom these people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I understand what you said now. There are things that are happening on the ground. It's not something that could be said on air, but there are capacities. Let me tell you something. Do you see these people, these non-Fulani, these indigenous people in the north? They have most of them they have capitulated. Complete capitulation, that they can't do nothing again. Yes.
Because they will face us directly. That's what I'm saying. That's my worry.
Yes.
Because
Now,
over time, in the next 10 years, the Fulanis will now buy that place and then face us. That's what my concern. But whatever happens, Nigeria will eventually we go to collapse because the economy is going down and everything is going back down. It's going down actually. everything's working towards that.
Of course, I know. But let me also tell you this. Things are no more like before. Let me tell you. Do you know that the Hausa uh, uh, community in the north? You know, now there is no more before like before Hausa Fulani. The Hausa, they have understood through the teachings in Radio Biafra that these people really dealt with them. You understand? So now, do you know that I think with this call by Sheikh Gumi for peaceful protests against Tinubu, do you know that the Hausa they tell their Hausa fellow Hausas, the Hausa leadership now tell their fellow Hausa not to ever participate in anything this Fulani called protests. You understand? Yeah, I think you saw it because now they say over 7 million of Hausawa were killed within the 8-year rule of Buhari. Now things are taking shape, but little by little. I know it's not easy, but things that are happening. It will, Mazi, let me tell you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say when we finish with the Fulani, even Hausa will pursue them. You don't forget this can I call it prophecy? Yes, and it will happen. Rome is not built in a day. The enlightenment is catching fire. It doesn't matter the pace. So people are opening eyes, even in the north. Even in the north. I was opportune when I used to broadcast with one of the northerners, one of my comrade that is from Nasarawa State. He introduced me to even their elders. I talk one time. I spoke in their meeting. I spoke with them. I know what they are. They understand really that they need freedom, but they are afraid. They are in the midst of the Fulani. They could be taken out, killed, and no person will know or do anything about it. So that's why I know I felt their or their feeling. You understand? They understand what we are doing, and they are praising or pushing us that look, they depend on us for their savior. I am telling you, they know it. They know it.
This is that where they rest those with trauma, within them.
Of course. Of
then,
course.
then the rest will be history.
Of course. Of course. IPOB is doing it. Mazi, IPOB is doing it. Honestly speaking, we must continue. No problem.
Don't know much about, and that's not my reason. But I just thought about it. I said, if there's anything they're going to lose, if we are not losing anything, then it's fine, to me.
It's okay.
But as long as Butai has mentioned this session, the understanding it means that they are now very much aware that eventually it will happen.
Of course.
That's why they are actually, if you look at if you follow that conversation, late audio, so the Yorubas are now taking their turn, So the Fulanis took their turn, the Yorubas are taking their turn. That's what is happening.
Of course. Okay. Thank you, Mazi. Ndewo, Mazi. Thank you. Ndewo. Thank you very much. Ndewo. Udodrege. We must continue. Yes. The people there, they feel that there is nothing. Many of them felt helpless. Not that they didn't understand their position, their bad situation. Honestly speaking, they understood it, but they felt helpless. Let me tell you, many indigenous people in Nigeria, they are counting on IPOB. That's why I say we shouldn't fail. I don't know. Many indigenous, even in the north, they are counting highly on IPOB. They are watching with keen interest and praying, according to praying for IPOB, that we should succeed. And we are going to succeed. Caller on signal. Mazi Fanyuchuku. Madabuchi son. Ndewo. Can you hear me?
Good evening, good evening, Biafrans and lovers of freedom. My name is Franchu Madabuchi, and I'm reaching you from the Netherlands. You see, my brother, let me start from this issue you treated in your submission. This issue of importing rice and maize or whatever grain to distribute to Nigerians. Now you wonder how many metric tons or bags will you import to feed over 200 million people? Not this tokenism and the smooth screen of 2 trucks, 10 trucks to this place, to that place. We are talking about 200 million people and counting. What is the origin of and quality of the imported grains? Are they from GMO tolerant countries or countries that prohibit it? And what are the mid-term and long-term health implications if they are GMO? And then you ask yourself this: what are the effects and consequences of the importation to domestic or undomestic farmers and products? Because lack of plan, lack of policy, lack of principle, just to panicking and firefighting without a plan. If you import this thing and flood Nigeria with either GMO or whatever grain, people who are farming locally will be disadvantaged, and people will again depend on imported one. It's easy, maybe cheaper, without counting the cost on the long run, and then counting the cost on the health. Because I know that a GMO farmer anywhere will not want to tell you anything about GMO. He want to sell his crop, he want to sell his seeds or grain. That's all. So what I'm trying to say is, this is still disadvantaging the local producers, and a stitch in time would have saved 9 that when Tinubu came in, if his first policy was to enable home-produced food, by now we'll be harvesting many rounds already. We will have the need to import to please because people are enraged and starving. Starvation is in Nigeria now. And then you talk about the Fulani through Mietiala demanded Ministry of Livestock June 23rd June, because I read it in the article where it was done on 23rd June this year. This past month, 23rd June, they demanded the Ministry of Livestock before the mid of July this month. Before the Chinedu government created it for them. But we know that this is an acute case of misplaced priority. Tinubu government has not done anything to make the people in IDP camps, refugees in their own land, refugees that were driven away by the same Fulani, who were displaced by the same Fulani invaders, to go back to their towns and villages. Tinubu government is rewarding those who are now killing, maiming, destroying lives and properties across Nigeria, occupying their homes, farms, and ancestral lands, by creating Ministry of Livestock for them, thereby empowering them to continue their murderous conquest. You ask yourself, what kind of people are ruling Nigeria? That's why sometimes we say that it is a catastrophe created by Britain. It's not about merit, it's not about knowledge, it's not about organization or experience or plan or policy. It's just to be there to maintain their limited liability, zero liability company. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, these people who are doing this are being empowered again to continue to snatch people's land, to continue to, now Nigerians will be financing them. The 160 billion naira Buhari gave them when he came to power is like water under the bridge. And now they're getting a whole ministry that will be getting budget. The Minister of Terrorism, Sheikh Gumi, is supporting and organizing protests against Tinubu government. But he, he was openly supporting and representing terrorists during Buhari regime, and even now he's still doing it. But he and his likes, are all like untouchable holy cows. Nobody's saying anything about what they're doing, dealing with terrorists, and then representing them, calling them freedom fighters. Freedom fighters. Okay, if they are freedom fighters that will be, treated with kid gloves and admitted to the or inscripted into the armed forces and all that, and you ask yourself, and our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB, who only fly flags and demand referendum, we are being killed, we are being maimed, jailed, and disappeared, while terrorists are being paid and inscribed into the armed forces of Nigeria. And we say, Biafrans, wherever we are, whatever we do, we must not and we must never join any demonstration or protest or revolution, whatever they are doing in Nigeria for Nigeria. It is a trap that we must not walk into. It is a trap to accuse and persecute and kill Biafrans the more. What we need is a Biafra exit referendum. We need the freedom, the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. And then we need independent and sovereign Republic of Biafra. And Biafrans support ESN, support our leadership, the Directorate of State, and join IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
IPOB. Let's restore Biafra. God bless Biafra. Thank you, my brother. Good night.
There were Mazi. Thank you very much. We must continue. Caller on what's up? Can you hear me?
For highlighting this issue. The alarm was raised again because we've talked about this in the past, that when the Global Fund, through the Federal Ministry of Health, started sending people for the third survey of health professionals and private health institutions, they were going around collecting data of location and personnel in all private hospitals in Nigeria. And this data they are actually collecting that's totally unconstitutional. You cannot collect private data for any purpose, first, without seeking the consent of the organizations involved, personal consent of the people involved, and explaining to them what this data is for. One, a foreign agent cannot collect data in Nigeria. So the Global Fund, funded by Bill Gates, has no locus to collect any data because health is national security. And the data is protected under the 1999 Constitution. So they were not supposed to do that in the first place. Now, let's see the history of this data collection. They had approached the association. Then I was the chairman of the Association of Private and Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Imo State. And we went to a national council, national executive meeting in Aba, and they came there to ask us that they want to collect data from the Global Fund funded by Bill Gates.
Just a minute, sir. Is it the Bill Gates group that approached, or they approached you through an intermediary?
No, the Bill Gates group it was funding an NGO who came to make a presentation at the National Executive Council meeting, telling us they want the data to make yellow pages. Yellow pages. And this was for doctors. And what was this? Yellow pages for doctors so that they can have a directory where all the doctors are. Now they were asking for a number of things. They were asking for photographs. They were asking for fingerprints with biometric data. And they were asking for location, how many staff, who are the staff, the telephone numbers, and all that. We patiently had them out. And after that, hearing them out, we now told them to excuse us. And they left. And when they left, we now started putting things together. First of all, it would be illegal under medical ethics to have such a directory because called yellow pages, because that will be primarily advertising, which is not allowed ethically. Secondly, they were a foreign agent because they have no right. This is national security. Just like going to a police station, I want to know all the policemen here, all the police stations, where their locations are, their phone numbers, and all that. The Nigerian police will just arrest you for doing that, even asking them. So the same thing is health. Health is under national security and is all protected. If you were to have the information of all the police locations, you can wipe out the police, so they will not get protected. The same thing if you were to know all the locations and telephone numbers of the doctors and the health personnel, you can also wipe the whole health personnel. And what will happen? So we will not have a health system. Then we have to now depend on a foreign health system, which we do not know the consequences. So when we noticed that this was happening, and coincidentally, we now got a message, an SOS message from Benue, that in Moko, a town in Benue, that a pharmacist, a famous pharmacist, was killed by the doctors. So now, that's what was alleged. And so now a group of mercenaries of Boko Haram, they call them, we are now seeking all the doctors to kill them. And the doctors had gone into hiding. So when
did this happen?
This happened that was in 2013, I think. And then we said, wait a minute, how come? They said, no, there was a professional feud that the doctor said that the pharmacist was attending to and taking away their patients, and the pharmacist denied it, and all of a sudden they killed they alleged that the doctors killed the pharmacist, and now the pharmacist and their association hired some mercenaries to go and kill the doctor. So we now understood that actually this was a setup, and a well-conspired setup by the people who were talking to us, the Bill Gates organization. And they were using their mercenaries to attack doctors. So we really understood that the people who were talking to us were, even before they got a formal cooperative or MOU from us to participate in their program, they were already going to the fields and collecting data because the doctors didn't know who in different localities didn't know exactly what this was all about. And then we now realize the plan that they were building up a GPS guided mapping, as they called it, the mapping of all the hospitals and the health professionals, and using the GPS in their phones to be able to track all the doctors and the medical personnel. They have their numbers. So this raised an alarm, and we were able to alert people, and all of a sudden, under the Buhari administration, things seem to have piped down. Now, immediately after Buhari's administration came to an end, they came up again with the so-called third phase of this survey. So this whole new program is what they are on now, to map and target and kill the doctors. This was exactly what they did for the farmers. Bill Gates donated, in quote, 14 million cell phones, which they call the electronic wallets. The idea was that they were going to give 2 billion naira loan or grant to farmers. What the plan, as far as the doctors are concerned, is that the doctors of Nigeria are the people who should, according to their plan, collect the eggs of women, which will now be used for the cloning procedure we call somatic cell nuclear transfer. And this is what I want to explain, what this is all about.
Okay.
Now, what the West is looking at is that they envisage a new human industry. The new human industry will make it possible to replace organ parts of sick people instead of continuously taking drugs for any medical condition. So what that means is that if you have a heart disease and you go to a doctor, the doctor will could take a sample from that your diseased heart, send it to the biotech companies, which are actually most of them in this category are owned by Bill Gates. They will now clone exactly that heart of that person. And how will they do this? They will take the cell the doctor sent them and remove the nuclear material. That's the nucleus that has all the genetic information. Now, they will get the egg of a woman, or eggs of women, because they will need several eggs for this. They will remove the nucleus on that egg and then transfer the nucleus from that disease heart into that egg. So that's what we call somatic cell nuclear transfer. So when they transfer it and then they keep it in a culture to grow into a heart, replicating the exact heart of that diseased person. But now that heart will be brand new without disease. They can now send that heart back to the doctor and they will now implant it into the patient. And of course, the person must have paid maybe $2 million or $1 million or whatever the cost involved. But this process of doing this is a manual process. That means making this transfer into the egg of a woman. So the eggs of women could be taken in hundreds just to do one procedure. So they will need about 100 million eggs, which will come from 10 million women. So when they looked at the map of the world and saw where on earth can we get up to 10 million women to donate egg?
Okay, so they find Africa as and Nigeria as a resource base for that purpose.
Yes. When they looked at Nigeria, it looked very much promising for them.
Okay.
So Nigeria has the population over 250 million people, about that now.
Yeah, Prof. You see, this thing is very. Why is this thing? I want to find out. Is this effort by the GET restricted to Nigeria, or are there other African countries or other parts of the world that are being affected by what they are doing?
The planned genocide is restricted to but one has to understand, why do they need to kill the doctors? They kill the farmers because they wanted to make sure they eliminate all the seed growers in the country. So when they eliminate the seed growers, the natural seeds will never be available again.
Okay.
And how they did that was very simple. What they did was that they just gave 14 million cell phones to all Nigerian farmers, so they could track those people who were being paid for seeds.
Okay.
So when other farmers go to them, they go to buy seeds, and then they know that this person was being paid for seeds. So he is the one selling the seeds. So they now use the GPS coordinates on these so-called electronic wallets, which are just cell phones, to target all of them and eliminate them. When you eliminate the natural seed growers, there will be no other alternative to the GMO, genetically modified organisms, foods and seeds. So they brought these seeds as improved seeds. The other farmers, they drove them into IDP camps and came to these IDP camps under the different NGOs and international agencies and presented these GMO seeds. So the farmers will now leave, they will temporarily hold their military activities in those areas, so the farmers will go and resettle. When they resettle, they start planting the GMO seeds. Once you plant the GMO seeds that first time, that first seed you get from that your maize, if you eat it, that will be the last you are going to eat. Because if you take the seed from that GMO corn and plant it, it will not grow. The gene that allows replication has been switched off. So you have to go back to the person who produced the initial seed. That is, in this case in Nigeria, it will be Monsanto. So they will now use them to reproduce these seeds.
Okay.
So these seeds are what actually makes the agricultural produce to move on.
Okay.
So they are using this technique to eliminate all the natural seed growers.
Okay.
And then when the remaining farmers don't have any other place to get seeds than to go to them, to go to them for that. Now, where do the doctors come in? The doctors come in the fact that when they capture the food security, which they actually have done now, because most of the seed growers have been killed. Just to give you an example, between 2015 and 2018, 37,500 victims were killed by Boko Haram.
Okay.
These were farmers. Then of these 37,500, 32,000, that's 85% were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. And in states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. So it became clear that this has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism. It has to do with elimination of all the seed growers.
Okay.
Now they have eliminated the seed growers.
Okay.
Now they're moving into the second phase of their program. Now, when the farmers go to them, we now depend exclusively on the GMOs.
Okay. So you mean we now depend on GMOs right now?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because without the GMOs, you cannot really get seeds, unless we are getting seeds from different African countries and some places. Some places in the south, especially southwest, and some parts of southeast, we can still get our own seeds because the Boko Haram have not really infiltrated them. But they are trying to do that. So what is happening now is that they want to move into the next phase. The next phase is whereby they will have total monopoly of the seeds. And then they will tell infiltrated them. But they are trying to do that. So what is happening now is that they want to move into the next phase. The next phase is whereby they will have total monopoly of the seats. And then they will tell the
Oh yes, my people, una well done o. Obodo Naija don carry census burst out o. Oya bring your ear close make we yarn. Anywhere you dey, if na Biafran you be, whenever they wan count census for Nigeria, kukuma come back to Biafra land o. Make dem count you in your own land, because during election they killed us in the north and Yoruba land, and na dem still talk say we no get right to vote in their land. So time don come make we boost our population, and if you no fit return, selenge for your house, make you no participate, because dem go add una number for the region where una dey. Another one be say, if you dey north and your tribe no be Fulani, when you wan fill the form, identify your tribe. No go write Fulani, e dey very important. In this census, if Biafrans go come back like tomorrow no dey, dem go know say we plenty for this obodo Naija wey we dey so. We go use this census exercise to ascertain our population and the size of amenities wey we need in Biafran territory. Remember every obstacle wey we get for this freedom, IPOB don dey dismantle am small small, and this population census go be another evidence to that effect. All hail Biafra, Biafra will hail you. Stand your ground and no fear. No dey from me, no see Biafra land.
Welcome back. I will no more take calls because of this technical issue. Please, I'll end the program here. Very, very pity, very big pity that a brother that is coming out calling before I couldn't, finish up what he's saying before. I was talking even without realizing that I had some technical issues until some people brought to my notice. But we must continue. Dear friends and lovers of freedom, what I'm saying here is this: we must continue in this struggle. It doesn't matter. We didn't come here that it is because it is easy. We didn't come in this struggle because the struggle is easy, but because it's very difficult. And we must continue until we achieve our goal. Have you forgotten when Mazi Nnamdi has been telling us that we should be consistently consistent? Consistency is the key. He made sure in order to reiterate on consistency all the time. Consistency. So he said a time will come when you no more depend on your physical power, but mental power, because all powers are drained. All forces, physical forces is drained, but you now rely on your mental power, endurance. People that are taken from the regular military to special forces, they have some qualities, including endurance, the ability to endure more than others, suffering. That is the stage we are entering. Therefore, we must continue doing what we are doing, support IPOB in whatever capacity. Do not lag behind. There are many things that are being thrown at the IPOB. Propaganda, different types of lies, but it should never deter us. Here we are training ourselves to reason, to be resilient, and reason in a different way. Because the key to our liberation, genuine liberation, is changing the way we reason. Do not allow your sentiments to block your sense or cloud your sense of reasoning. That is all we preach here, so that we can be making sound judgments. Sound judgments. When you see things, you consider it, you look at it left, right, center, sideways, everywhere. Now you give sound judgment. But with sentiments, you can give a one-sided judgment that it will even be detrimental to what we are doing. You see, so we should not be coming out from Nigeria and being Nigerianized, because Nigerians have been, Nigerian brains has been distorted. Look at how a republic is, the president in a republic is giving out crumbs, dishing out the crumbs to the people as a way of good governance. Do you see that? It just makes us think that we are in Nigeria is just, a gathering that gather to eat and drink only for 1 hour. What is bags of rice going to do for you? 20 trucks load of rice for a state. What is it going to serve the population? They don't want the population to reason properly. They don't want the population in order to bring out their human capacity to help imbued their country. They don't want it. It is not to the advantage of Britain, neither to the politicians they are using. They want everybody to be aground so that they will always be on top and come as helpers. Do you see it? So this is what we are preaching here, for us to reason like real human beings, so that Biafra will come and our first natural resource will be our human resources, our human capability. Human resources should be Biafra's number one resource, not crude oil, not gas, no, but the human being that can make things happen. Because everything we are seeing today in this physical world, most of the things are created by human beings. Even forests, you see Saudi Arabia, see Israel, you see Dubai, United Arab Emirates. They are creating forests in a desert. Whereas the Lake Chad is left to dry up in a place where humans are helpless. They don't understand the power they have. They believe in God. They believe in any other spirit to come and do it for them. They leave Lake Chad to dry up. Lake Chad, I think according to facts, they say Lake Chad have lost more than 90% of its original size. It's drying up. Do they talk about refurbishing it or rejuvenating it in a way, planting trees and creating artificial forests so that it will draw rain? No way. No way. Because they don't see themselves as human, as having any capacity of doing anything. No. They saw themselves as consumers only. God will bring the consume. Once the thing finished, they start calling on God. Oh yeah, begging God. Oh yeah, bring more. This is a very piteous situation. Whereas other places are creating. China is, creating forests in deserts. In China deserts. They are creating heavy forests in China deserts. Do you see what human being can do? In our own side, we are even cutting the forests, destroying forests and natural trees that are there, that's supposed to, it is very, very sad. Let us understand that we are in charge, we are in control of this world. For us to understand and think like human being, we need to change the way we reason. Let us subject everything to the author of reason. Let us think, reason critically without any type of influence, sentimental influence, religious, any type of influence. When you see blue, you say, yes, reality, the reality I'm seeing here is blue. So we call it blue. Not I believe it's blue anyway, but I believe that is in my belief it is black. No. It is blue, it is blue. So that we can use it in order to do something real. That is what we preach. Therefore, we must continue preaching this gospel. It doesn't matter how things are. It doesn't matter. We must continue. Our radio in Biafra Lands FM work is going on heavily for them to be restored, because many things are happening, but we must never allow the situation to overshadow our efforts. Support IPOB, support ESN anywhere you can in your efforts. It goes a long way. Do not say it's too small or it's too big. No, nothing is too small or too big for IPOB. Your efforts, financial, anyhow, we will read there. Thank you for listening. Biafra remains our religion. Biafra remains who we are. Biafra remains our ideology. Some people are still calling, but I will not take any calls again, please. I'm going to stop here. Thank you for listening. From me, Mazi Jonathan Chinedu, from here, it is simply good
For highlighting this issue. Um, the alarm was raised again because we've talked about this in the past. That when the Global Fund, through the Federal Ministry of Health, started sending people for the third survey of health professionals and private health institutions, they were going around collecting data of location and personnel in all private hospitals in Nigeria. And this data they are actually collecting that's totally unconstitutional. You cannot collect private data for any purpose, first, without seeking the consent of the organizations involved, personal consent of the people involved, and explaining to them what this data is for. One, a foreign agent cannot collect data in Nigeria. So the Global Fund, funded by Bill Gates, has no locus to collect any data because health is national security. And the data is protected under the 1999 Constitution. So they were not supposed to do that in the first place. Now, let's see the history of this data collection. They had approached the association. Then I was the chairman of the Association of Private and Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Imo State. And we went to a national council, national executive meeting in Aba, and they came there to ask us that they want to collect data from the Global Fund funded by Bill Gates.
Just a minute, sir. Is it the Bill Gates group that approached, or they approached you through an intermediary?
No, the Bill Gates group it was funding an NGO who came to make a presentation at the National Executive Council meeting, telling us they want the data to make yellow pages. Yellow pages. And this was for doctors. And what was this? Yellow pages for doctors so that they can have a directory where all the doctors are. Now they were asking for a number of things. They were asking for photographs. They were asking for fingerprints with biometric data. And they were asking for location, how many staff, who are the staff, the telephone numbers, and all that. We patiently had them out. And after that, hearing them out, we now told them to excuse us. And they left. And when they left, we now started putting things together. First of all, it would be illegal under medical ethics to have such a directory because called Yellow Pages, because that will be primarily advertising, which is not allowed ethically. Secondly, they were a foreign agent because they have no right. This is national security. Just like going to a police station, I want to know all the policemen here, all the police stations, where their locations are, their phone numbers, and all that. The Nigerian police will just arrest you for doing that, even asking them. So the same thing is health. Health is under national security and is all protected. If you were to have the information of all the police locations, you can wipe out the police, so they will not get protected. The same thing if you were to know all the locations and telephone numbers of the doctors and the health personnel, you can also wipe the whole health personnel. And what will happen? So we will not have a health system. Then we have to now depend on a foreign health system, which we do not know the consequences. So when we noticed that this was happening, and coincidentally, we now got a message, an SOS message from Benue, that in Moko, a town in Benue, that a pharmacist, a famous pharmacist, was killed by the doctors. So now, that's what was alleged. And so now a group of mercenaries of Boko Haram, they call them, we are now seeking all the doctors to kill them. And the doctors had gone into hiding. So we know.
When did this happen?
This happened that was in 2013, I think. And then we said, wait a minute. How come? They said, no, there was a professional field that the doctor said that the pharmacist was attending to and taking away their patients, and the pharmacist denied it, and all of a sudden they killed they alleged that the doctors killed the pharmacist, and now the pharmacist and their association hired some mercenaries to go and kill the doctor. So we now understood that actually this was a setup, and a well-conspired setup by the people who were talking to us, the Bill Gates organization. And they were using their mercenaries to attack doctors. So we really understood that the people who were talking to us were, even before they got a formal cooperative MOU from us to participate in their program, they were already going to the fields and collecting data, because the doctors didn't know, who in different localities didn't know exactly what this was all about. And then we now realize the plan that they were building up a GPS guided mapping, as they called it, the mapping of all the hospitals and the health professionals, and using the GPS in their phones to be able to track all the doctors and the medical personnel. They have their numbers. So this raised an alarm, and we were able to alert people, and all of a sudden, under the Buhari administration, things seem to have piped down. Now, immediately after Buhari's administration came to an end, they came up again with the so-called third phase of this survey. So this whole new program is what they are on now, to map and target and kill the doctors. This was exactly what they did for the farmers. Bill Gates donated, in quote, 14 million cell phones, which they call the electronic wallets. The idea was that they were going to give 2 billion naira loan or grant to farmers. What the plan, as far as the doctors are concerned, is that the doctors of Nigeria are the people who should, according to their plan, collect the eggs of women, which will now be used for the cloning procedure we call somatic cell nuclear transfer. And this is what I want to explain, what this is all about.
Okay.
Now, what the West is looking at is that they envisage a new human industry. The new human industry will make it possible to replace organ parts of sick people instead of continuously taking drugs for any medical condition. So what that means is that if you have a heart disease and you go to a doctor, the doctor will could take a sample from that your diseased heart, send it to the biotech companies, which are actually most of them in this category are owned by Bill Gates. They will now clone exactly that heart of that person. And how will they do this? They will take the cell the doctor sent them and remove the nuclear material, that's the nucleus that has all the genetic information. Now, they will get the egg of a woman, or eggs of women, because they will need several eggs for this. They will remove the nucleus on that egg and then transfer the nucleus from that disease heart into that egg. So that's what we call somatic cell nuclear transfer. So when they transfer it and then they keep it in a culture to grow into a heart, replicating the exact heart of that diseased person. But now that heart will be brand new without disease. They can now send that heart back to the doctor and they will now implant it into the patient. And of course, the person must have paid maybe $2 million or $1 million or whatever the cost involved. But this process of doing this is a manual process. That means making this transfer into the egg of a woman. So the eggs of women could be taken in hundreds just to do one procedure. So they will need about 100 million eggs, which will come from 10 million women. So when they looked at the map of the world and saw where on earth can we get up to 10 million women to donate egg?
Okay. So they find Africa as and Nigeria as a resource base for that purpose.
Yes. When they looked at Nigeria, it looked very much promising for them.
Okay.
So Nigeria has the population over 250 million people, about that now.
Yeah, Prof. You see, this thing is very. Why is this thing? I want to find out. Is this effort by the GET restricted to Nigeria, or are there other African countries or other parts of the world that are being affected by what they are doing?
The planned genocide is restricted to Nigeria. But one has to understand, why do they need to kill the doctors? They kill the farmers because they wanted to make sure they eliminate all the seed growers in the country. So when they eliminate the seed growers, the natural seeds will never be available again.
Okay.
And how they did that was very simple. What they did was that they just gave 14 million cell phones to all Nigerian farmers. So they could track those people who were being paid for seeds.
Okay.
So when other farmers go to them, they go to buy seeds, and then they know that this person was being paid for seeds. So he is the one selling the seeds. So they now use the GPS coordinates on these so-called electronic wallets, which are just cell phones, to target all of them and eliminate them. When you eliminate the natural seed growers, there will be no other alternative to the GMO, genetically modified organisms, foods and seeds. So they brought these seeds as improved seeds. The other farmers, they drove them into IDP camps and came to these IDP camps under the different NGOs and international agencies and presented these GMO seeds. So the farmers will now leave, they will temporarily hold their military activities in those areas, so the farmers will go and resettle. When they resettle, they start planting the GMO seeds. Once you plant the GMO seeds that first time, that first seed you get from that your maize, if you eat it, that will be the last you are going to eat. Because if you take the seed from that GMO corn
Yeah.
and plant it, it will not grow. The gene that allows replication has been switched off. So you have to go back to the person who produced the initial seed.
Yeah.
That is, in this case in Nigeria, it will be Monsanto. So they will now use them to reproduce these seeds.
Okay.
So these seeds are what actually makes the agricultural produce to move on.
Okay.
So they are using this technique to eliminate all the natural seed growers.
Okay.
And then when the remaining farmers don't have any other place to get seeds than to go to them, to go to them for that. Now, where do the doctors come in? The doctors come in the fact that when they capture the food security, which they actually have done now, because most of the seed growers have been killed. Just to give you an example, between 2015 and 2018, 37,500 victims were killed by Boko Haram.
Okay.
These were farmers. Then, of these 37,500, 32,000, that's 85% were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. And in states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. So it became clear that this has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism. It has to do with elimination of all the seed growers.
Okay.
Now they have eliminated the seed growers.
Okay.
Now they're moving into the second phase of their program. Now, when the farmers go to them, we now depend exclusively on the GMOs.
Okay. So we not depend on GMOs right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because without the GMOs, you cannot really get seeds unless we are getting seeds from different African countries and some places. Some places in the south, especially southwest, and some parts of southeast, we can still get our own seeds because the Boko Haram have not really infiltrated them. But they are trying to do that. So what is happening now is that they want to move into the next phase. The next phase is whereby they will have total monopoly of the seeds. And then they will tell the farmers, you want us to give you seed? Okay, we can give you seed, but on the premise that you must tell your wife and daughters to go and donate their ovarian eggs.
That's a conditional gift. No?
Conditional gift. Food. That is, if you want food, you have to donate ovarian eggs, the eggs of women. And why do they have to do that? They have to do that because the Western countries need these ovarian eggs for cloning. Nigeria is the only country in the world and in the history of the world which has legalized collection of organs without consent. So your organ, which you own, which is your person, if you go to the hospital, they can collect that organ without your consent because it states in the National Health Act of 2014 and 2015, actually signed in 2015, states that you can actually collect that organ without consent. In section 48 and 51 of the National Health Act 2014 version of it, actually states that you can collect that organ without consent. You can collect organ and you can collect the gametes, that is the eggs of women, without consent of the patient.
That's very dangerous.
That's very dangerous, but it was allowed into law. I personally led the doctors' delegation in the National Assembly hearing, at the Senate hearing, and pointed this out before Ike Ekweremadu, before Governor, the main proponent of the law, who was Ifeanyi Okowa, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa then. Okay. And then, of course, Senator Ngige then was also present at that public hearing. I pointed this out, that you cannot do this under any law. But they overruled the public hearing, and Senator Ekweremadu, who was the person who was conducting the public hearing, did not heed to all the calls by all the people present. And what happened? They passed the law with this defect. So all the people who are waiting to harvest organs, harvest eggs are all in Nigeria. They are setting up their different NGOs. Can you explain why there is a multiplicity of NGOs in the Northeast where there is a conflict going on?
Yeah. Okay, Doc, I will come back to this. But what I want to ask now, I mean, why is Brigade focused on Nigerian doctors?
Yes.
Can you address that?
He focused on Nigerian doctors because he now wants to harvest these eggs. And doctors are the people going to harvest these eggs. These are going to be in hospitals. But Nigerian doctors, he knows, because of our high moral standard, and I must say, very high moral standard, our doctors will not do that. Because our doctors know that if you keep on harvesting those eggs in those women 2 to 3 years later, they will die.
Okay.
They will die of liver failure, kidney failure, infection,
some other
complications. So we know that that's going to happen. So we're not going to do that. And when he called us, and I must say, I was physically present when Bill Gates called us through the General Electric, who he awarded the contract to build 260 hospitals in Nigeria. So that it will be at these hospitals they will be harvesting these organs and harvesting these eggs. So he will now take us out of the health sector. He invited the leaders in the private health sector and said, okay, look, I'm ready to offer you money to leave the healthcare sector. We told him before the executives of GE that he is mad and insane to demand such a thing.
To leave medical practice.
To leave medical practice. And then he will pay us. No matter the amount of dollars we ask for. So we said, you are mad. We are not going to do that, and to hell with you.
Is that really?
We told him off before the executives of, I was personally present. The lab people, the president and secretaries of the lab, National Organization of the Lab, Laboratory Scientists was there. The president and secretary of the community pharmacists was there. And we told him to his face, to his presence, because they were talking on, it was a telecom conference, and then the executives of General Electric were there at their headquarters in Abuja. So we told him off that you cannot do that even with all your money and all your things. It's not going to be possible. Now, since we rejected that offer, he has moved to his second option.
Okay.
Eliminate, kill all these doctors, and then take over the health care. And he told us they have already taken up the whole government hospitals. They bought the federal medical centers. They bought the university teaching hospitals. So what is remaining now is for us to get out of business so he can carry out.
Okay.
So these hospitals will become places where foreigners can get organs. It will become places where he will harvest the ovarian eggs, and it will become a killing house for ordinary Nigerians. This is why this is dangerous, and this is why this country must, not just to stop it, not just to ban GMOs, we must call for an international inquiry in which Bill Gates will be brought before the courts of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice. We must bring it the same way Nuremberg trial was done during the Nazi Germany.
Now, our security agencies are aware of this thing that is playing out.
Yes, we have actually written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the chief security officer of the country. And of course, all the other agencies, both police, army, and all the also have our submission to the president. And the National Assembly has been well informed, the senators, and then the House members have been informed about this. But it will not be something that we handle by government alone. The Nigerian people must stand out. Bill Gates wants to set up these killing houses in Nigeria called his hospitals. We know that firsthand because there is no way he can invest all this money, he can carry out all this program only for Nigerians to get better health. No. This is a killing house. Do you know that the Western countries did this for over 20 years in India and Southeast countries?
This same thing that
the same type of thing in a way that they use the lower caste people, the black people of India,
Okay.
and they use them to put out to take organs, sell organs in all across Southeast Asia. And this happened for 20 good years until a black Indian became the Minister of Health and stopped this activity a few years ago. Now we will not let that happen in this country. We must call for the arrest of Bill Gates and all his cronies in this country. All of them. All the NGOs he's using and all the individuals that are helping him to carry out this program. The Nigerian people must take that responsibility. It's not a responsibility government alone can. The government can't. The government can. The government of Nigeria cannot do this on their own. So it will mean the Nigerian people, the Nigerian youth, because these slaughterhouses will be the first people to be targeted are the Nigerian youth. We must say no to Bill Gates' totality. And he has he is the one manipulating the whole public. You know, we immediately started talking about this. All of a sudden, the children in Kaduna were kidnapped.
Yeah.
Just to divert the attention of the people and say, and then portray the government as is incapable of defending the Nigerian people. By the time we talked about this, all of a sudden now, oh no, there's some obscure imam is now talking about the first lady.
Okay.
These are all diversionary tactics. It is the same Bill Gates.
Enough is done.
He should be brought to justice in Nigeria. We're not going to wait for America. We are going to issue the indictment in Nigeria and call him to answer it. And if he does not answer it, anywhere we see him in the federal government, we will arrest him and bring him to justice. This nonsense must stop. Because somebody is a billionaire, and so what? He's dictating vaccines, he's dictating policies, he is appointing ministers, he is carrying out food policy in Nigeria, he is carrying out health policy in Nigeria. Who is this man? He must be arrested.
Yeah, Prof. You when you wrote the Senate, and you copied a lot of international groups, the UN, ILO, the EU, Conference of Bishops, and so many other international organizations. Now, has there been any reaction coming from?
Yeah, there have been different reactions. But as you could see, the Bill Gates charged all his all the parastatals working for him, the NBMA, the National Biosafety Management Agency. They were all up in arms. The so-called organizations that were set up as proxies for Monsanto, OFAB, and all that, they were all busy abusing me at the National Assembly and writing all sorts of things. But you know, these people are just actors who have been pushed out there by Bill Gates to speak for him. But what we want, the reaction we want, is Bill Gates to answer for himself, to say yes, okay, look, this is not what I'm doing in Nigeria. Then let us now have the open debate. Let him come to the National Assembly, where he will answer to these charges. And we will go there and let there be a Senate hearing. It happens all the time in America. It happens everywhere. This is a democracy. Let him come. This is not a matter for one obscure lawsuit or anything. Let him come before the people. Say, okay, I've come to Nigeria to help the Nigerian people. Okay, we now ask him, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So everybody will now listen, and then they will use their common sense to figure out the truth.
Okay, now you've called for the arrest of Bill Gates and for his trial.
Yes.
Now, beyond that, what do we need to do to contain this calamity?
Now, the first thing we are going to do, as a people, we ban GMOs. Okay. Anywhere you see any GMO, don't eat it, don't breathe it, if possible, get it destroyed. Any GMO that comes your way, they bring it for you to eat. You know that it's a GMO product, throw it away. Because you're not eating any food. Food nourishes. Toxins will only kill you. Sooner or later, you will be dead of cancer or any other thing. So why eat it? It's no food. So the thing is, you get involved and make sure that your food is not GMO. And then we also discourage everybody around us about GMOs. We don't need them. They said, can you imagine when you say, okay, we are using it to solve the weevils, the insects you see in beans. So those weevils, you can use genetic material, method to actually protect the beans from that. Okay, wait a minute. Do you know we do that? We have been doing that for thousands of years. With 20 naira, 50 naira dry pepper. Yeah. You put it inside that bag, there will be no weevil there. So you are going to run to some genetic material where they will, when they put that genetic alteration, they will also alter the gene for reproduction. They put epicide, Monsanto epicide gene. If you eat that beans, you will not reproduce.
It sterilizes
you automatically. So there is no more procreation in Nigeria. We will extinct our population. And the people are coming here to take over this land. This is the plan. And it is very discouraging that you see people who say they have attended school and they can't even make out 1 + 1. It makes no sense. How can Bill Gates come to this country, take away our whole natural foods we used for thousands of years? Where did you get the experience that your GMO will work? Yeah. Even the U.S. the Department of Agriculture is telling you GMO does not increase productivity of anything.
Even there in the so-called civilized, they reject it.
Yes, Britain, but Prince Charles is heading the campaign to stop GMOs in Britain. Oh, they don't know what they are doing there. Oh, the whole of Europeans, the Germans, the French, the Russians, the Italians, the Hungarians went every field of the GMO and bumped it down. The Russian president, if you actually are caught distributing GMO in Russia, you will go to 25 years imprisonment to life imprisonment. And if there is contamination of 1% with GMO gene, that means somebody some 10 miles away planted something that is GMO, and the insects got in touch with your own plant. That's contamination of 1%. You cannot export into the European Union. You cannot export into most of the countries. So that means the GMO food can never earn you any foreign currency.
Okay.
So what sense does it?
Okay. No, finally, let me ask this question. Now, to what extent are Nigerian doctors aware of this development?
Yeah, we are briefing people, through both individual, through platforms, through different methods, making sure that people realize the danger. A lot of Nigerian doctors are aware, and they are taking the necessary personal precautions, which I cannot reveal here, which is necessary for them. But more importantly, we want a more proactive way. So we inform other people. Because if people know of this and reject all the nonsensical things from Bill Gates, not one thing Bill Gates has done in this country that is useful. No. Including his involvement in the so-called prevention of this disease or that disease. Rubbish things that don't even make medical sense. So we must reject and kick him out of this country with all his organizations and parastatals that he's supporting. And until this country does that, this country will never come to life. It's not possible. All these are problems, both economic. He uses the economic. He will use the World Bank. He will use the IMF to put pressure on Nigeria. The youth of Nigeria must take on the campaign to throw this guy out with all his organizations and all those people working for him in this country. Throw them out of this country so that we can have some life. You see what the Malians have done. See what all the Nigerians have done. See what all the Burkina Faso people have done. This is the country also. Niger Republic today is the 4th fastest growing economy. In fact, we don't have to do any coup. We still follow our democratic process. We still follow our governance structure. But we now reject what is evil. Yeah. We reject it because the Malians discovered that where the French were occupying, was where most of the terrorism was taking place.
Yeah.
So they now, when they kick the French out, the terrorism stopped. So that's what we have to do. So in this place, we kick out Bill Gates and all his multiple organizations, and this terrorism will vanish. They will not even have 3 weeks in this country because they can't sustain it. They live on, they are hired assassins. They are hired killers. So they have to be paid every month. And the billionaire, before he pays them, you have to show him evidence that you are killing people. That's what is happening. He's paying them 10,000 every month, though they are big officers. So why wouldn't they kill people? And these are people coming from Libya, from all these conflict-prone countries in Africa, where you have active mercenaries. So I think the correct thing to do is for the youth of Nigeria to carry on the campaign and create awareness both among themselves and across the country, so we can kick out Bill Gates out of this country. He is the origin and source of every amount of terrorism and evil that is going on in this country.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you for being part of our program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, viewers, this is where we wrap it up. And
for highlighting this issue. The alarm was raised again because we've talked about this in the past. That when the Global Fund, through the Federal Ministry of Health, started sending people for the third survey of health professionals and private health institutions, they were going around collecting data of location and personnel in all private hospitals in Nigeria. And this data they are actually collecting that's totally unconstitutional. You cannot collect private data for any purpose first without seeking the consent of the organizations involved, personal consent of the people involved, and explaining to them what this data is for. One, a foreign agent cannot collect data in Nigeria. So the Global Fund, funded by Bill Gates, has no locus to collect any data because health is national security. And the data is protected under the 1999 Constitution. So they were not supposed to do that in the first place. Now, let's see the history of this data collection. They had approached the association. Then I was the chairman of the Association of Private and Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Imo State. And we went to a national council, national executive meeting in Aba, and they came there to ask us that they want to collect data from the Global Fund funded by Bill Gates.
Just a minute, sir. Is it the Bill Gates group that approached, or they approached you through an intermediary?
No, the Bill Gates group was funding an NGO who came to make a presentation at the National Executive Council meeting, telling us they want the data to make yellow pages. Yellow pages. And this was for doctors. And what was this? Yellow pages for doctors so that they can have a directory where all the doctors are. Now they were asking for a number of things. They were asking for photographs. They were asking for fingerprints with biometric data. And they were asking for location, how many staff, who are the staff, the telephone numbers and all that. We patiently had them out. And after that, hearing them out, we now told them to excuse us. And they left. And when they left, we now started putting things